Creating a thriving personal brand. YouTube, a journal and a personal guide. Let's get this started with a hi. I'm James, 19 years or from the UK. Chose not to go university since there wasn't any subject I wanted to study that would suit my direction in life. The big goal is to be semi-retired by 30. But that's okay if I don't get there. I'm focusing on the process and journey above all else. I recently started up my new business, which if you are a FLF insider, you can find my thread here. I came to a realization that I wish I had come to a few years back. Especially in business. And especially if you are trying to go fast lane. With just you can do so much to promote your other side hustles, and or monetize that audience. This realization drove me to conclude that I wanted to start building up my own personal brand, right now, with no hesitation, and do my absolute best to get this thing up and running, because let's all be clear here. There are so many channels out there, that it's damn near impossible to be seen amongst the crowd. The purpose of this thread is to not only document my process and journey, but also provide on how you can learn from whatever mistakes I make. Provide value above all else. As always, like in my insiders thread, I want to be entirely transparent with everyone and keep it as real and as honest as I can. If one day I decide to just quit the whole thing, I'm in this till I either succeed, pivot, or quit, and you'll have a clear picture on where this process will take me, and where I may have gone wrong or gone right. I already have my channel up and running, and as a matter of fact, you can check out Keeping Up with the Theme of Transparency. I was nervous when recording and releasing this video. I've done a lot of acting throughout my childhood, teenage years, and making this video was more nerve-wracking to me than any audition that I've done in the past. But this is the first barrier that people will face if you're trying to make it on this platform. Once I posted that video, I felt a slight sense of relief. I sent a few messages out to some close friends who I had told I was starting this channel up, and they went on to watch it. And a few of them, let me be clear here, I was too nervous to post this video on my social media. That's why I just DM'd some friends, in the hopes that I can land maybe 80 views on the video to get me started off. But once some of these friends posted it to their stories, something amazing happened. Some of these people friends, but there were also some that I hadn't spoken to or seen in a while that shared it. I even had some really kind messages about how they found the video really helpful and well done. I really didn't think it was a great video at first. I thought it was bad, and kinda boring, because the nerves really stopped me from bringing the energy to the screen that I usually could do with acting. My only intention was to, after I felt that positive feedback, I finally made the leap and posted it to my own socials. In total the video sits at around. I was more than impressed by that as a debut video. I genuinely didn't think it would surpass 100. I earned about in total from that video, and a few new followers on my Instagram. My goal isn't really to be internet famous or anything like that. It's simply to get a personal brand started up, have my name put out there, share some genuine advice from someone who is passionate about entrepreneurship and self-development, no woo-woo selling my $1,500 plus course shit, and see where it goes. If you're looking for some specific targeted goals, here's my main objective for the year. That's all, for now. The reason why I say this is that the subscriber count is really just I'm more interested in improving things like, and, the metrics that actually count. But until I have some data from my own videos to work off, I can't set those targets as of right now. My aim is to post once a week, although it may be once every 2 weeks every so often. Truth is, I'm balancing 3 things here. The channel is one thing, the full-time job is another, and my other side hustle, which I've been working super hard on, is the third. Ideally, the latter two are working hand in hand, but that doesn't deviate from the fact that my full-time job as an estate agent has some ungodly hours that can really eat into free time. But again, all will be documented here. That's about it for now. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me them. And most importantly, all feedback is appreciated, the good, the bad, all the ugly. Have a wonderful weekend, folks. Fair play for putting yourself out there. I watched the first minute or so of the video. I think a more positive body language might help. You appear to be trying to act casual. I know it's easy to be self-conscious on camera. One of my tricks is to think of who I'm helping. Check out the second post here for my first ever talking head video, and the first post here is a talking head video of me giving talking head video tips. Hit the nail right on the head with that one. Perhaps that also explains the lack of energy. In an attempt to cover up the nerves, I tried to have a more relaxed body language, which translates to less energy. Cheers for that, Andy. I've had a few peeks at your YouTube thread as well, but haven't had the time to have a good read through. I'll get to that as soon as possible. Thanks. Use the nerves. Even stand up to have even more energy. Go into panto mode and go over the top in places. When you look back on it, you'll realize it looks more like you'd expect a presenter to look, and doesn't look as odd as you think it will. You'll learn good things and pick up good skills working on your personal branding videos. Just consider this though. Yes, I had already considered this because it is a good point, and I posed the dilemma to myself of should I do something big and then build the personal brand, or should I just go for it? I concluded that waiting to give myself permission probably wasn't the right thing to do, because my intention with the channel is not to position myself as an expert. After all, I haven't done shit yet. But rather, the point of the channel is to share things as I go along. I'm attending one networking event every week for a year, and midway through the year I'm going to make a video on it and explain what I've learned, and how the challenge was overall. I don't want to come across as a life coach or anything like that, but rather somebody that's working to figure things out along the way, and bring my audience along for the ride. I think that's valid. Document your journey. Look at some of my recent progress threads. I'm not proclaiming I'm an expert, I'm documenting me figuring it out. Already had it scheduled for today, and it's officially out. Had a really fun time creating that video. It's all about the business model of some of these online gurus when it comes to selling their courses plus programs, and how their marketing can be incredibly deceiving and taking advantage of people in a vulnerable position financially. Check it out if that interests you. But more importantly, so I've been doing quite a bit of research and have found some amazing videos that can help you if you're trying to understand how to grow on YouTube. The overall rule at the moment is this: YouTube's algorithm is what decides whether or not your videos should be suggested to other users on the platform. It's like God passing a judgment over your video. If the algorithm favors you, you'll get some good views, and if the algorithm loves you, then you'll have a viral video. But what does the algorithm even look for? Watch time, click-through rate. These two single metrics will give the algorithm a good enough idea of how much they want your video to be promoted. Is the total amount of time, on average, that viewers spend watching your video. Is how many people who have your YouTube video appear on their search or suggested videos or any other location on YouTube, otherwise known as impressions, and have actually on your video from there. These two single metrics explain what the algorithm favors. I will create another post with a little more information, but check out these amazing videos that are incredibly insightful for growing a YouTube channel. This guy explains how one of his videos went viral. Side note: here is a video by Devin Nash. Seriously, this guy has some awesome videos on business, but some gold dust on building a YouTube channel or personal brand. I recommend you go through some of his videos. Here is a good look into how Mr. Beast, the fastest growing YouTuber at the moment, managed to build his success. So, let's take a look at one of the first few most important aspects of creating a YouTube video. The actual content itself is not that important to YouTube, or to phrase this in a better way that doesn't sound like I'm recommending you to post garbage content. Unfortunately, the YouTube algorithm hasn't got a way of detecting how good a video is. And after all, that's incredibly subjective to begin with. But let's assume you have a really good video. Yes, One of the most important ways of doing this are YouTube thumbnails. Here's a good way of finding some good thumbnails. Graham Stefan's most popular video on how he purchased his Tesla has a thumbnail with the title "The $78 Tesla slacked right on," accompanied with a picture of him in front of his Tesla, arms wide, mouth open. Something that I've been doing. These are the best types of videos to study because whatever the creator did with just a thumbnail or title was while researching Mr. Beast's channel, I found myself clicking all sorts of videos that I hadn't intended to watch, simply because of the clever ways in which the thumbnail had been designed. From now on I'm going to take a much better look at my own thumbnails, and they have to be able to spark a sense of curiosity that breaks somebody's patterns. In the next part of this continued update, I'll talk about titles on YouTube, and what my research indicated about the importance of titling your video when increasing censor, as well as looking at my own titles and what I feel like I could have improved upon, even though I only have 2 videos up at the moment. Took me a little longer because of work commitments, but it's finally done. Now, a few things that I've been learning that I now realize are incredibly important for. Whilst watch time and censor are incredibly important for the algorithm to begin spreading your content to a wider audience, it's not hard to imagine that as a new YouTuber you are going to struggle to achieve getting substantial watch time. We'll just abbreviate this to wait and censor. It makes sense. You don't have a following, nobody is really paying attention to your stuff, therefore making it harder for people to your video, let alone it. The only exceptions I can think of for this are people that leverage a previous fan base and take that traffic into their channel. Think celebrities coming to YouTube like Zac Efron, Jack Black, etc. From the research that I have done, it seems like one of the best ways to solve this problem of not having an initial fan base is to create. In other words, this is content that is not necessarily discovered by YouTube your video, but by users who actually for it. If you are a tech channel, for example, you may create videos that review new bits of technology that comes out, or even better, niche bits of technology that people are still searching for reviews on. If you are a gaming channel, you may do the same for a new game. The idea behind this is to, in other words, it forever on the platform. If you've done your research right, we'll touch on that in just a second. Then your videos should come up each time someone searches insert X product review. This one video gives people a chance to your channel. If your content is good, then some of the people who have discovered you there will go on to subscribing or watching your other videos. My second video, and to be completely fair, my third video, are not really searchable content. Nobody is searching for the rise of fake gurus, but there will be people searching for something like, is Dan Lak a scam, or are online courses worth it, etc. With my first video, I'm still getting views every day from it, albeit 1 to 2 views, and I can see from the analytics that a lot of these recent viewers are coming from YouTube's suggestions. But what does YouTube even use to determine whether or not your content comes up in a search? To those of you who are familiar with SEO will already be aware of how the algorithm will scour your video's title, and description, and tags, but we'll talk about tags a little later because I found a video that may suggest tags don't actually do anything. For example, you search up the rise of fake gurus, and my video will likely be within the top 5 suggested. I always recommend using Chrome's incognito mode to get the most honest search results from YouTube. Pretty simple stuff. I struggle with this myself, and it seems like the best choice is a balance between keywords that are searched often, but have a low amount of competition. The 2 most powerful tools you can use right now are, these are Chrome extensions. You have to pick one, but generally, they do the same thing. I am personally using vidIQ, and it seems like an even split between which one people prefer, so just make a choice and go with it. vidIQ does a lot of things. One of the things it can do is help with researching keywords, the traffic a keyword gets, and the competition that exists for that keyword. Here is a great video by vidIQ themselves explaining what to look out for, and how to do this. I'm going to be paying more attention to creating content from now on. The same rules still apply to the thumbnail and title, of course. They can't be boring. They have to be somewhat interesting enough to want to make you click. Yet we'll have to see how my videos do with this in mind, and go from there. but I recommend using vidIQ. It helps so much with creating videos. Good stuff. I really liked the fake guru video. I'd much about getting big on YouTube, so I can't give much feedback on tags and thumbnails and stuff. One piece of feedback I'll give is that audio could be improved. Get the clips all at the same volume. Wasn't too big of a deal, but some clips were quieter than others. Editing is looking on point, so keep up the good work with it. Sub to your channel and following the thread. Keep up the good work. Thanks for taking the time to watch and subscribing, Tubbs. And yeah, totally agree. I think I just figured out how to equalize the volume of all the clips, so that shouldn't be a problem for future videos. Definitely one of my best. Been learning a few new editing tricks that I'm putting into practice. I also scripted this video. Unlike my others, so the game is definitely stepping up. Also some important observations, arguments, and case studies to note. YouTube is definitely a process. I already knew this, but after 4 videos in it really does sink in that you just have to keep going with it, learning from the data that you get, and keep making improvements from there. And if it's clear it's not working out, you may have to call it quits. But with it being said, I've done a little research on some newer channels, and there's one thing I keep noticing. If you ever have the time, browse through this subreddit where you'll see different new YouTubers post their content. It's insane how many I come across, especially in the gaming niche, where their videos are just lengthy piles of nothing. The editing is bad, the audio quality is either terrible or it's non-existent, video quality is poor, etc. etc. There's nothing that makes these people stand out in what is already an insanely overcrowded market. Personal finance is no different. Ever since Graham Stephan got big, I've seen a surge of people who are essentially doing exactly what Graham is doing. The same editing, same thumbnail, and overall talking about the same stuff. It's not like what they're actually talking about is bad with most of these guys, it's just that there's nothing special about it. Does that mean that niches like personal finance or gaming are impossible to break through? Absolutely no. Check out a guy on YouTube called Andre, another personal finance YouTuber. He's had his channel up for 1 year, and has had it grow to almost 500,000 subscribers. If you just click on one of his videos, you'll see exactly that is. Andre has amazing editing, a unique personality that he lets shine through, and he adds his own little twist of magic to all of his videos. Quite literally, it's different. It stands out. And I predict that Andre will dominate the personal finance niche in the next year or two. 4 videos in, and I'm starting to get a better sense of where I see the content of this channel going. I really like creating documentary-style videos, just like my recent one, where the video has a sense of narrative, it's split into parts. The music has that documentary feel, and the scripts also adapt that narrative or storytelling style. But that also means that I won't be able to post more than 1 video a week, at least not until I get some help with editing. Initially that made me fearful because, after all, people are constantly going on about how you should be posting consistently. And then I noted a few examples of channels that defy this rule. 1. Internet Historian. 2. Bill Wirtz. 3. Kurzgesagt. There are definitely more, but these are the ones that I am most familiar with. All of these channels take a much longer time to post videos, and yet they still get ridiculous views. Why? Let's take Internet Historian, one of my favorites, as an example. Here's a post he made on a subreddit that is based around helping new YouTubers. It's a great read if you're interested, but I wanted to boil it down to some key points. One thing he seems to stress the most in this post is creating a catalog of videos. And I think both his channel and the others I've mentioned are great examples of doing this. When I first watched the Internet Historian, I couldn't stop binging his other videos. They were incredibly entertaining. It was clear he put a lot of thought and effort into them, and they all had a sense of, and, that made them very fun to watch. Although I think there's a balance that needs to be made, he makes a great point about the quality of his videos being a priority. The whole reason I and others binged his videos, is because they know they are getting good quality content from each one. Good jokes, the same style of editing, an interesting narrative, etc. etc. With my future videos I also want to prioritize content, a sense of narrative or story, and build up a catalog of videos that have a good sense of rewatchability, and could potentially spark a of my channel. There's a lot more to be said on this subject, but I'll leave this update here for now. Fifth video finished up and released, decided to take a dive into the data broker industry. Pretty interesting stuff. Now a couple thoughts and some important things to note if you personally decide to go down this route. This is the end, since we're all here to create businesses that fulfills the framework as best as possible. It's important to note, at least, not the type of channel that I am creating. Because this channel is centered around building a personal brand, it mostly requires my face to be in it, and if we're going to be uploading videos regularly, then that means a lot of my time will have to be traded in for creating these videos. With that being said, meaning less trading of my time for money, whilst keeping up the quality and still growing the channel. Without a doubt, the longest stage in the process of making my videos is the editing. One video can take anywhere from 20 to 30 hours to make, roughly speaking. I am still new to editing, and so I'm learning things along the way, which makes me a pretty slow editor at the moment. I'm sure I'll get faster at editing as I continue practicing, but even then, the amount of time I spend editing isn't going to work if we're trying to fast lane this thing. For now, I don't have much of a choice, but it is absolutely my goal to hire an editor that knows how to edit in a similar style to what I'm currently doing, and do an even better job of it. This was always a plan from the start, but I should have mentioned it already. I don't plan on monetizing my videos using YouTube ads. Thankfully, there are a few other ways that I can expand the channel's capability to generate money. First, I'm able to generate traffic to my other business and convert that traffic into buying customers. Second, I think I'll be setting up a Patreon account, at least whilst we're still starting out. For those that don't know, Patreon is a donation platform that lets people donate money on a monthly basis to content creators, usually with a little incentive from the creator. It's not the greatest way of generating revenue from the channel, but it can certainly be helpful at the start if there are fans willing to donate money in return for the content. Third, online courses are incredibly profitable. But of course, I'm not trying to sell some garbage snake oil stuff, so the courses that I create for the channel must be actually informative and provide an extreme amount of value. Usually to do that, it will require leveraging my own experience, which is pretty small ATM. I'm still thinking of ideas, but if this channel goes far, I definitely can see myself creating a course on exactly I did it, and you can potentially replicate those results. Time will tell for this one. And I'm not going to be shoving these courses down people's throats. They may get an occasional mention in a video here and there, but it will never detract from creating good free content for the channel. Fourth, merchandise. A little on the fence with this one, but if there's something of genuine good quality that I can see myself creating merchandise-wise, then why not? This is something for the future, but definitely worth thinking about. Fifth, affiliate marketing. Low on the list because it isn't incredibly profitable, but affiliate links in the description have been proven to add a little bit of revenue to YouTubers' careers, so again, why not? Of course, all the links that I have in the description are for products that I use myself, and that I genuinely think will help my audience. I have some other ideas in mind as well, but that's for another time. Out of these methods, the most fast lane ones are taking viewers to my other business, creating online courses, and merchandise. Assuming that I've set up processes behind each of these that allow them to run with little no effort, then they have the greatest chance of allowing me to generate more money from the channel, whilst still keeping my efforts needed to do so fairly low. As always, but as long as I can put in that work and sacrifice at the start, I believe it can really work out. That's about all for this update. By the next one, I'll begin to recap how the channel has been going so far along with plans for the future. Till then, I've been sitting on this video idea for a while, and I finally got down to business and finished it up. Hands down the best video on the channel so far, super proud of this one. Now time for a recap of how this journey has gone since starting on January 27th after 2 months at the time of making this post. Here is where the channel currently stands: total impressions, subscribers, channel views, watch time, Average view duration, in views. Is university worth it anymore? Video has done the best, but this will soon be overtaken by The Rise of Fake Guru's video. The Fake Guru video has by far outperformed the other videos on my channel with a total watch time of hours, which accounts for 44.78% of the total watch time on the channel, and an average watch time of. It has also gained me an increase of. It has been consistently getting views since its release, and has really begun to climb, which is a pleasant surprise, considering I thought this video hadn't done very well when first publishing. Exposing fake gurus has become a bit of a niche of its own right now. See channels like CoffeeZilla and Mike Winnett as examples. And targeting a fairly niche topic with some good keywords is actually one of the best ways of picking up an audience, at least from my observations and research. I can see from my analytics that I have been ranking in some of these terms, and been recommended on some other more popular videos around fake gurus. Contrary to the fake guru video, my worst performing vid has been the insane story of Instagram. And I think I saw this coming even as I was creating the video. At the time I was fairly stressed out as I began working full-time at the estate agency which I am no longer working for, which is a topic for another time. Along with that, I pressured myself to get this video done in a single week. Not great. The actual vid is subpar when comparing it to the others, with the exception of my university video. Even so, I tried targeting the keywords for story of Instagram, which unsurprisingly I didn't do well in. The only reason it even hit over 100 views is because I promoted it on the Instagram subreddit, a tactic that I will talk about in a bit. Looks like I'm going to have to take some lessons from when it comes to finding keywords to target. So let's now talk about what has or hasn't been working now, given that I am currently not doing the job when it comes to keyword targeting and generating views organically on YouTube. How is that, I hear you ask? Well, it's been primarily by tapping into different audiences via external, not YouTube, organically promoting the video means. Here are some examples. 1 on my I have always posted whenever I am releasing a new video, along with a teaser of the video to get people interested. Doing this has definitely allowed my channel to gain traction. When people have been kind enough to share it has definitely helped me gain subscribers at the start of my channel, and continues to bring in views. It's also been really nice when someone who I haven't spoken to in a while messages me with support for the videos, so that's an added bonus. I started doing this with my story of Instagram video. I went to the Instagram subreddit, and created a post with a title along the lines of "This is the story of Instagram's creation, thought you guys might like it." The post didn't even do that well, but it got enough people curious to click, and thankfully gained me more views than it would have initially, as well as gaining me an extra subscriber. But by far one of the best videos this has worked on has been my data brokers video, which ironically was shared on a subreddit by someone else. But I will come to this in a second. It's important to note that you should admit has also gained traction to my channel, which I knew would be a side effect of creating this thread. But I have made it at utmost importance to provide value throughout this thread, and make it interesting to read, and as non-spammy as possible. Doing the same with other niche communities you may have access to can also help, especially if you already have credibility built with them. So, there is now a common tactic of changing your channel name to a format like insert your name, investing videos, and then commenting on other channels that are relevant to that content, and then if your comment rises to the top of the video, people will see the investing videos part of your name, and will hopefully be curious enough to click and check out your channel. This tactic has become fairly common right now, and if you check out some personal finance channels, you will find many others replicating the tactic. Now I personally tried this at the start of my channel, by calling myself James Janney, business and self-development videos, and I managed to rank at the top of various different videos of YouTubers that I watched. But I have to say, that this did work that well for me. I didn't see any particular influx of traffic to the channel, if any. So I ended up changing the channel back to its original name. But with a recent video on a channel from a YouTuber that genuinely inspired me to create my own channel, I commented along the lines of been watching you since old video that I discovered him from and wanted to say you genuinely inspired me to start my own channel. And very shortly, I started gaining a huge influx in viewers, subscribers, and comments. An influx that I hadn't seen before. This all happened on my data broker video, which deserves its own story on how that video managed to go from something that I thought completely bombed, to getting well above the average amount of views for my channel. Having said this though, I will once more emphasize, after posting the data brokers video and sharing it on my Instagram, I noticed that referring back to my tactics, I made the decision to post it to or privacy, as I think it was very relevant to that subreddit's content. Unfortunately, I had issues with keeping the video up, and it was eventually taken down. And that was that. I sort of didn't think much of it. And then, far more than I had been expecting, realizing that something must have happened, I watched as the view count started to surpass what I tend to average around those hours after releasing a video. And finally, from there I went to check it, and the video was on the hot page of the subreddit, with around 14 upvotes. If memory serves me correct. In some sort of ironic twist, after my failed post to the or privacy subreddit, another person who I assume must have found the vid enjoyable enough went to post it to a community they thought would be more interested in it. And if that wasn't enough, the very next day a YouTuber that had inspired me to make my channel posted a video, and I thought, hell, why not just comment and let him know that he inspired me to create my channel? Of course, I knew that this would definitely gain traction to my channel if the comment landed to the top comments on that video. And just like that, another influx in viewers started coming to the channel, and along with them came more subscribers. Before that video I had around subscribers. After these two incidents occurred, I now sit at subscribers. Quite the leap for a beginner, I think. We're off to a good start, and I don't intend on stopping. I love making these videos, and I'm starting to get some good ideas on how I'm going to monetize this channel, as opposed to just asking for donations via Patreon or PayPal. One thing that I definitely want to improve is for many of my videos, with the exception of the fake guru video, this duration has remained low and typically 4 minutes or below, which, considering that all my videos are above 10 minutes, I think it can definitely be improved. Doing this will also get me closer to achieving 4,000 hours total watch time on my channel, the amount needed to begin putting ads on my videos. I think I have also settled on the style of my videos being in documentary fashion, with somewhat of a narrative, and I've consequently changed the banner of my channel to reflect this. Being in quarantine has also allowed me to continue focusing all my attention on the channel, which has been great so far, and I can afford to do so at the moment. And if you're following this thread, I want to thank you dearly. It feels like we're only getting started with this journey, so onwards we go. 7th video wrapped up and published. This one was heavily inspired by the man himself, and I consider it a tribute to the lessons I've learned from. And anyway, I'll keep this update short as there isn't a huge amount to report on. So, I've seen a huge growth in the channel since posting the last video, which received an amazing reception after its release. We're now at the time of writing this. Although it's nothing crazy, it's amazing to think that there are 214 different people who have tuned into my content and thought it was worth subscribing to. Positive market feedback definitely does feel great. My Instagram has also been gaining some new followers from the channel. But let's talk about monetization. I now also have my Patreon and PayPal.me link set up. In fact, we received our first donation after the last video. One of my subscribers made a one-time donation of 20p, and although that isn't anything life-changing, it's still awesome to see that even with a small fan base someone was willing to make a donation. My Patreon tiers have also been created. 3 different tiers are as follows. For now, donations and patrons will be my main method of monetizing the channel. That is, until I can start running ads, and until I release some courses. More info on this to come. It's in the works. That's about all for now. My next video is going to be a pretty risky move, but if my plan works out, then it may very well be the video that takes this channel to new heights. We'll just have to see till then. First, I just want to say congratulations to you. The fact that you're executing and making it happen, kudos. The video is also very well done, serious props. Gave you a subscribe to help support. The other reason I wanted to pop in here though, I would encourage you to maybe think twice about monetizing this instead of asking people to pay for your content. Give it to them for free. Well, kind of for free. Start building your email list and provide exclusive content that way. These videos also create their own lead magnets. I know it's more work, but you could relatively easily summarize this video into an action plan or set of steps that you can encourage people to opt into. First, it's a lot easier to convince someone to give you their email rather than their money. Second, that email list will be absolute gold for you later down the line. Not only will it allow you to sell your course that you say you're working on, but it will prove useful for generating new content ideas, as you can always ask your subscribers what they want and create conversations. It allows you to sell any products you choose your course, but also anything you choose that is relevant to your niche or topic. Think affiliate offers, SaaS companies, your top favorite books on Audible or Amazon, etc. See, no matter what happens, you own that list. By having your own list, you can email people when you release videos. If they're subscribed or not, you're pushing people to YouTube's platform, which they like, and you're bumping your video as well by making sure everyone's seeing it. Edit. Also, this really gives you the control in this situation. Otherwise you're dependent on YouTube ads, Patreon, etc. Anyway, just food for thought. Regardless, keep up the good work. Thank you for taking the time to respond. This has definitely given me something to think about. I'll keep the Patreon page up, but I'm not going to be heavily pushing it to my viewers. I want it primarily to be about letting certain viewers financially support the channel if they so choose to do. But as for creating an email list, you are absolutely right. Although I have been quite hesitant about starting a mailing list for fear that I will not be able to keep up with sending out emails. But this is just laziness. I know I can easily put together a small email that either expands on the video, or gives a little story that I found during the making of the video and maybe a lesson I learned from that story. This is a great idea. Thanks again, buddy. Just watched this. Love it. You're blowing up. Good luck and into follow if you keep updating. Wow, your growth is absolutely insane. It just backs up the fact that quality is everything with YouTube. Hope you keep updating us with this. The next update will be uploaded today. Things have been absolutely insane, and I've been trying to make sense of it all. I intended to make the next update after the next video upload, but I've got no choice but to make one now, for sure. Keep an eye out for it in a few hours. My friend, you've motivated me to get off my ass and start making videos, that's for sure, and I'm in a similar niche. I'm definitely getting my second video done in the next week. Make some room on your wall for that YouTube plaque soon. BTW. I have just come across this thread. Created an account just so I could comment. Really interesting stuff. Thank you for sharing your journey. I have recently started doing some YouTube videos, so it has been very insightful. I see that your channel has blown up. Looks like the guru video maybe went viral somehow. Looking forward to you sharing the secret. Valia. Is it possible to share how much you make from YouTube ads? I don't entirely trust those how much YouTube pays me videos. Thanks. Wow, your fake guru's video blew up. Interesting to see how a 3-month-old video could gain traction and go viral later on. As someone who's never dabbled with YouTube before, around how much would you say that the earnings are for this? Your video that went viral, for example, are we talking $20 or $500? My intentions were always to post updates on this thread after the release of a new video. But with what's been happening in the last few weeks, things have had to change. On my last post I reported we were at subscribers, and labeled this as exponential growth. Now, and for those of you just following this thread right now, I know what you're thinking. What the FCK? At least, I know that's what I was thinking. I've had heart palpitations over the last few days because of the craziness that has just ensued, which meant I was up late in the evening unable to sleep, and lost my appetite due to the sheer adrenaline that has kept my body in a 24/7 alert state. But today I woke up and things were better. I felt more focused, calmer, and ready to make this post as well as taking this YouTube channel to a whole new level. This one is a long post, but I think it's necessary. Without further ado, here's what happened since the last post, and my explanations as to why it happened about maybe 2 weeks ago. I woke up and ran through my usual morning routine, and upon checking the channel stats, I noticed a sudden increase in views per hour to the channel. Overnight, my average viewers to the channel per hour went from 1 to 6 to 20 to 40. Huh? Was the immediate thought. Initially I assumed that someone may have posted the video somewhere online. On a subreddit maybe, which must have brought some surplus traffic to the channel. But then I checked the analytics and saw that the views were coming from browse features, meaning the video was being shown on the home page or recommended tab for audiences. Even then I was so shocked and surprised to see the influx of viewers. It blew my mind like nothing else. But then things continued to snowball. It continued to grow, hour by hour, day by day. More and more average views on the channel per hour, more comments, some very endearing ones too started pouring in. The fake guru video was, of course, the main powerhouse. The algorithm had picked it up and started pushing it out to a bunch of people. But gradually I would have maybe an average of 100 views per hour on the fake guru video, and then after a day it would suddenly shoot up to 500 views per hour. Then the next day it would suddenly shoot up to 1,000, etc. etc. Currently the video averages about 1.5k views per hour. I'll explain what this pattern is all about in just a moment. To cut the long story short, at the time of writing this, what's even better is the fact that I have set the channel up in such a way that I wanted to create a catalog of videos as mentioned in my previous post, and so once they finish watching one video, my audience would be curious to watch another, which in this case, was my Toxic World of Self-Help video. Makes sense, considering the topics of self-help and fake gurus can be closely related. The self-help video is at views right now. The money video is currently at, and the others are in the thousands, tens of thousands. Yeah? Pretty insane. So everyone is told to pump out content like crazy, but someone who commented on my video made an amazing point. The principles of abundance versus scarcity play a part here. When something is abundant it has seemingly less value because, after all, there's plenty of it. But when it's scarce, it's far more valuable. I think I already mentioned this on the last post, but when a channel that posts once a month, people are far more inclined to think, I know that they're not going to post a video for a long while now, and I know what I'm about to get is high quality, which not only urges them to click the video, but also entices them. Notice those two factors: urges them to click the video, and entices them to watch right through to the end. Two factors that the YouTube algorithm heavily prioritizes. Not only that, but if all the content on your channel is on par with the same level of quality as that video, they're more inclined to binge watch, meaning more views that make up for the long gaps between uploads, and in my personal opinion a more loyal fan that trusts your work far more than the YouTuber that's uploading 24/7. Pretty cool, right? As I mentioned, once the algorithm picked up my video, I would get a consistent number of views per hour. Then after a day, that average number would suddenly shoot up. Not gradually, it would quite literally just shoot up. I wish I could find the video that explains this, but here's why. From what I've heard or seen with my own eyes, once the algorithm picks up your video it will begin to split test it against someone else's video to an audience of let's say 100. So it's video versus video B. Based on whichever video does better during this split test calculated by looking at the click-through rate, watch time, engagement rate, etc. It will then progress the video on to the next split test to an audience of let's say 1,000. If video 1 then it becomes vid vid c. And the trend continues until your video eventually gets beaten, and from there on the views start to stagnate and return to normal. It doesn't necessarily die out, it's just that the algorithm stops pushing it out as much. I wish I saved the screenshots of this taking place live, because seeing it in person is far more powerful than just writing about it. This also explains why you will suddenly get recommended a video that seems a little irrelevant to your interests, because that video has beaten enough split tests to be spread to a completely new audience. A few many other incredible things happened once the algorithm picked up my video. Stuff that seriously blows my f***ing mind. You can imagine that since the last post, going from slow and steady growth to the f***ing insanity that has happened over the last 2 to 3 weeks, this has been overwhelming. So now let's talk about the future plans. At the end of the day, one crucial thing has allowed all of this to happen: having good quality content. Yes, I targeted a niche subject that was rising in popularity with the fake guru video, but many others have done a video on the same subject, and yet my video is perhaps one of the most viewed when it comes to this subject, with the exception of CoffeeZilla's, a YouTuber that exposes gurus' videos. If the video wasn't edited good enough, researched well enough, and presented well enough, this wouldn't have happened. People wouldn't have wanted to click to see more videos and binge the channel. People wouldn't have bothered leaving incredible comments about how much they've enjoyed the content. And so, my main priority is and will always be to put out great quality content. And if my audience has been enjoying the content from the last few videos, I've learned even more editing techniques, tried to make better scripts, etc. The game is going to be stepping up to a whole new level, and I have a mastermind plan for how to get this next video to be another banger and go viral, but more on this when the video gets finished. But of course, as per the title of this thread, we're trying to build a thriving personal brand, and so I think it's time that I tell you guys how we're going to be changing our old ghosting on social media ways to creating some flourishing social media accounts. So, the Instagram is popping off right now. I'm currently trying to reply to as many people as possible who message me. Something that I'm doing that I think is incredibly effective is it's quicker than typing a message, and it adds a whole new level of interaction with my audience. I can only imagine what it would be like watching someone that I love on YouTube respond to me with a personalized voice message. I'd be very impressed. So, I think it's a tactic that I should absolutely adopt. And it's been a fascinating experience. Some of my audience have responded to my voice messages with their own voice messages, and it's so amazing to hear what my fans sound like. I'm also going to be expanding to Twitter, and eventually, TikTok. I think Twitter is great to post repurposed content and potentially have it blow up, and I think TikTok is such an untapped market at the moment for my niche, relative to other platforms, and I think it can bring a younger audience to the channel. We can have both a mature and younger audience combined together. Why not? Still need to study how TikTok works and what sort of content I can put on there that could possibly do well. I've had someone on Instagram reach out to me who's had a viral video on TikTok before, and I think I'll set up a Zoom call with him to get to know more. Also, I'm going to be working on my LinkedIn for the sake of building more professional relations with people that may be in the entertainment or film or video production industry, all a part of a greater vision I have for the channel and business that I will not share for now because I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Although I will be executing on this vision right from the get-go because my God, this goes far bigger than just a YouTube channel, and I'm slowly starting to realize this. Feel free to add me on LinkedIn, James Janney. Rightly said by a few people in this thread, and in my old Acquire thread. A personal brand is just who you are at the end of the day. It isn't really built per se, it's your reputation. So here's the sort of reputation I'm hoping to translate through to my socials. Most important to me is being someone genuine and relatable to my audience. no flexing content or anything of the sort. Much more down-to-earth advice, and a documentation of my journey. Getting quite a bit of advice from some of the people that have reached out to me regarding how to execute content that displays this in the best way possible. I think Ben Francis, founder of Gymshark, does a brilliant job of this on his YouTube channel. He's a super inspirational businessman, and has built up an incredible company at only 27 years old. Definitely someone I look up to. And I do intend to start distributing content to all my social channels, with teasers of videos and other such videos in the aim of increasing my reach to new audiences drastically. Gary Vee has quite an amazing guide on this that I have saved somewhere, but I'm definitely going to be digging it up as soon as possible and executing on it. Let me just say, I don't even care that much about the money right now. I have an amazing vision for where this channel or business can go, and that is what is motivating me to get up in the morning and work non-stop at this. I'm super effing pumped. But with that being said, the numbers and the potential earnings of this channel are incredible, to say the least. And when I started doing the maths, my heart really started beating like crazy. In the upcoming months I hope to release a course on video editing. Something that many people have been asking for in my comments and messages. The market is sending clear signals to me, that's for sure. And so I hope to release a beta or MVP version of the video editing course soon. At the start the course will be priced pretty cheaply, I'm thinking like £30. But over time I'm looking to get feedback from the customers about what they like, don't like, what they find confusing, what they want to see more of, etc., and continuing to develop the course until it hits the right sort of quality that is worth charging anywhere between £100, £300 for, which is a fair price in comparison to other video editing courses on the market. But what I want to do is create a course that is on the same level of quality as a masterclass course. If you haven't seen how Masterclass creates their courses, I highly recommend looking at the trailers on YouTube. They're incredible, to say the least. I'm confident I can create perhaps one of the best video editing courses to exist in the market within 2 years' time. Also, the course encompasses everything to take someone from a complete beginner to a pro. With that being said, I'm not a pro myself, and hence why the course will be in a constant state of development as I grow my skills as a video editor along the way. So when the MVP version is released it will go over the foundations. Then down the line I will release another expansion that covers things like animations and whatnot, and then another expansion down the line that will introduce other elements, etc., etc. Now let's look at the numbers, and why this is something insanely profitable. Let's assume that we get 1 million views a month to the channel, so not necessarily on one video, on the channel as an entirety. A very plausible number considering the fact that I've received about 180k views in the last 48 hours. And that's only been the last 3 months. Imagine in 1 to 2 years' time if I continue producing quality content, which I have every intention on doing! Let's say we convert 1% of that audience. That's 10,000 customers. If the course is £150, then that translates to £1.5 million in revenue. If we convert 5%, that's still £750,000 a month. Yeah. Easy to see why I was getting a bunch of heart palpitations when I started running the maths. That doesn't even include things like ad revenue. We'll talk about that in just a second. Other products. I want to make a course on starting up a YouTube channel once the channel gets even bigger, sponsorships, donations, etc., etc. The opportunity here is beyond ridiculous. As for ad revenue, I've started monetizing my videos, and I'm just waiting to see what my CPM is, how much I get paid per 1,000 views, which is taking YouTube a little while to process the data for me to see. I'll probably expand on this in a later post. But your CPM on YouTube depends on many factors, but one of the biggest factors is your niche. Gaming channels suffer low CPM due to the nature of their audiences, likely being teens who don't have money to spend on the ads that are presented to them. They're likely going to have a CPM of £1, £2. But when it comes to the finance, business, entrepreneurship niche, things get a little more interesting. Of course, I can't confirm this for my own channel yet, and as soon as I do get confirmation, I will post about it, but some personal finance or entrepreneurship or business channels get reportedly a CPM that can range from £6, £15. So, if their channel gets 100,000 views every month, then they potentially earn between £600, £1,500 a month. These aren't crazy numbers, but then again, that's only if they get 100,000 views a month. If that number is 1 million, then the earnings are more like £6,000, £15,000 in revenue. Much better. Again, without confirmation of CPM on my own videos, I'm not going to comment on it further, but it's definitely worth noting that earnings potential could be huge when it comes to ad revenue as well. A lot has happened in a very short period of time. A lot. And I'm still trying to comprehend it. But I wanted to say that I'm glad my videos have set people down a better path when it comes to business and entrepreneurship. I've put quite a few people on MJ's works now, and I've got more of my audience thinking about solutions to problems, and not just blindly chasing money. At this point, I have no idea what's going to happen. Who knows? Maybe the whole thing crashes and burns. But I don't know about that. I think I have something special in my hands right now, and you can bet everything that I'm going to work my ass off to make it into a reality, including that big vision I have that I will expand on in the future. We're only getting started. Till the next update. As soon as YouTube starts giving me the stats for this, I'm going to post it here. This thread deserves a lot of attention. Wow. I said before, but keep smashing it. One question: on your recent money video, how did you get around using clips from movies and TV shows? Do you think monetization will be an issue for that? Go smash it. Okay, I'm writing this on my phone, so it may not be structured too nicely, but the money stats have come through. My CPM is about £14.34. Images attached below. I received a total of 22.2k monetized playbacks. People have actually seen ad on my videos. Now bear in mind I only started monetizing the videos less than 48 hours ago, so it doesn't account for all the views we've had before that. My total estimated revenue is £180 since I started monetizing. I'm not too sure if it takes a cut from this or if this is the direct amount that goes into my AdSense account. I'll need to research this a little more, but just wanted to fill you guys in. I'll likely do an update post where I go through exactly how this monetization stuff works once I've figured it out. But yeah, £14.34 CPM is incredible. Great question. As far as the fair use guidelines are concerned, the way in which I use the movie clips in my videos is fine. There are also many other channels on YouTube that include movie clips that have been around for a long time and are still monetized, so I don't think it's a huge concern. However, issues like fair use can have quite a gray area, so there is a slight risk there. I'm thinking of ways around this, but that's much more down the line, and I'm not too worried about it at the moment. Very nice job, man. I checked out your channel. I really liked the toxic world of self-help. One thing that stands out to me, above all else, is your voice. I read through the thread and I get what you are trying to do with monetization through ad revenue, courses and other stuff like that. Consider getting more exposure to your buttery voice. I can see you becoming a voice actor with no problems. And once you start networking with other actors, the sky is the limit. I think it's worth posting your videos in places where people are looking for voice talent. My point is, don't make the courses, voice the courses. Really impressive and well done. So cool to see this, and I will have to come back and go through this thread in detail to see what I can use on my own channel a lot. Thanks for these detailed posts. It's super useful advice. Second, Alex. You said the monetization had only gone on for 48 hours when you posted. Does this mean you earned £180 in 48 hours? Wow. According to its estimated revenue, yeah? That number is now at £1,064, which has blown my mind. I don't think I'll truly believe that figure until it's actually in my bank account. As for the accuracy of these estimates, From what I've seen online, they're fairly accurate, give or take about 10% margin for error. I'm not sure whether I net this amount, or if it takes some sort of fees or something else goes on in between. I'll definitely report on that when I find out. YouTube pays people 1 month after their earnings, and it's usually on the 21st. So I won't know for sure until the 21st of June. It's definitely something I've been thinking about. Part of the larger picture of things. I'll elaborate on this more in another post, but the first 1 to 2 years of this I want to dedicate to building up the channel and creating that video editing course. If all goes well, the capital raised from doing that is going to allow me to expand things into much more than just a channel. Again, more on this in the future. But I'm definitely building contacts at the moment. Or should I say, my channel is building contacts for me. I've spoken to a guy who is a film production company that has had a movie on Netflix, nothing big, but still impressive, and it means he has a connection with them. I also have a call on Saturday with someone who has done a lot of work for the BBC and is now writing a satire film about fake gurus which he'd love to talk to me about. Again, it blows my mind how powerful just having my channel is. These people are coming to me. I'm not making any cold calls, or emails, or anything. It's good for you. I'm so proud of you. Only a few months on YouTube and already having these kind of results. Do keep us updated on the revenue thing, PLS. Incredible. It's all I can say. I've read the entire guide here so far. If there's one thing I've got from you, it's pure inspiration. You got recommended to me by the algorithm, and since then I got hooked on both your videos and on the idea that I can do the same as you. I've been procrastinating on starting my own channel for the past 2 years. Now it's over. I'm doing this. And together with your guide and experience which you are sharing with us here, as well as your advice which you were so incredibly nice to share with me on LinkedIn, nothing can stop me other than myself. I might start a thread just like this one. I'm pumped. And a huge congrats on all the success you're having. Incredible story, I wish it will all 10x, and I know it will. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. We're with you. I'm so glad you found it helpful, Sebastian, and thank you so much for taking the time to read everything. I wish you the best with your own YouTube channel. Just remember that it's always the hardest getting that first video posted. Once you've got it posted, turn your focus to producing quality content. This is simply amazing. The jump you've made in editing skill in such a short time seems incredible. Well done. I wonder if you would be willing to share a little about the process you went through while learning the skills needed to succeed here. Specifically, script writing, video editing and presenting or speaking. Those are all non-trivial and valuable skills, especially when stacked together as you have. Not looking for a full how-to or anything, but maybe just some tips or resources you found useful along the way. Thanks. Have you heard of Patreon? I just read about it today. Maybe a way for additional revenue outside already ahead of you. I made the Patreon just before the last video. So far I've got 16 amazing patrons. It nets me about £70 a month. Good idea, Ethan. I'll try to make a special update post on this alone. Most of my experience in script writing, presenting, narrating, storytelling, comes from my acting background and was something that I'd honed over time. But I'll definitely share some useful tools and practices that I've learned along the way. I can summarize university in a sentence: it doesn't teach you to get paid and it doesn't teach you to get laid. So what's the point? Anyway, I was actually pleasantly surprised when I scrolled down and saw that you were the author of the thread. I've been a subscriber of your channel and you are really ramping up the game now with great content. Your deep voice is one of your big strengths when you speak. Congrats on your success, very inspiring. I'm not a big YouTube guy, but I'm going to follow your progress both here and with your videos. Keep up the great work. Had a quick look at your progress, almost hitting 50k, man. Crazy. Need to get this thread to notable soon. I think something like a trilogy video event would go down a storm on your channel. Leave everyone on an amazing cliffhanger in PT1 and go from there. The next 2 videos would automatically come up as recommended. I can see something like that working really well with the type of content you put out. Just curious, as I'm planning out my own channel, I'm a bit worried about future copyright strikes, especially as I, just like you, also want to highlight the toxic sides in certain niches and influencers. What do you know about this, and how do you ensure your video won't be taken down? Each and every clip you use under fair use policy can be used by the original creator to make a copyright claim. And from what I've heard, YouTube doesn't really bother digging into the matter and simply favors the bigger entity, usually a corporation, but could be one of the gurus you're exposing just as well. Thoughts? And one more thing, where do you find the inspiration for all the different footage? It's all really relevant to what you're talking about. What is your process for finding relevant footage from previous works? Huge thanks. Agree. I'm paranoid about this matter. I mean, everything that pertains intellectual property could be seen as copyright violation, like even if you're showing a random page from a random book in your video. I'm less worried about the video being taken down, and way more worried about getting sued. I heard that's what happened to Michelle Phan, famous YouTuber with makeup videos. She was sued for using copyrighted music in her videos even though she claims she had permission from the company to use it. Scary stuff. That's one of the problems with making it big. People want to take a piece of what you've made, in whatever way possible. It only takes one slip. That's an amazing idea. I'm sure at some point I'll do this. Creating hype for videos is something that I love doing, and the promotional material for this next video is going to be the most I've done in terms of building hype, so we'll see what I can do. It's always a concern. Of course. YouTube breaks the C part of the framework, but from what I've seen, it's not as grave a concern as you may think it's made out to be. Many YouTubers have over-exaggerated the state of demonization for sympathy points, and more views. Not all, but this is quite common. It's true that a fake guru knows someone else can come in and try to take down my video, but I can just as easily dispute that claim, and I'm sure that I'll win out. If not, I make a small video about gurus trying to silence me, and the Streisand effect works in my favor. I often think that the whole fear of being demonetized or copyright strike just prevents people from starting. As long as you make sure you are abiding by the licenses of the music you are using in your video, as long as you are using clips under fair use, you should be fine for the most part. As for finding the movie footage, it can sometimes be a grueling process. Sometimes I might have a scene in mind, and can search for an HD clip of that scene on YouTube and download it from there. Sometimes I just might not have a clip and will have to scour through different movies in order to get something I'm looking for. What usually happens is that you don't get a strike. You just get your video demonetized. It's no big deal as long as you are not doing intentional sharing of copyrighted material on a regular basis, or you upload unmodified copyrighted content just for the sake of make it free. So if you are talking and you include portions and then talk some more, it can be blocked, but in my experience it either gets demonetized or it gets blocked, and then you basically try again but more carefully next time, because you are not actively trying to profit from copyrighted material. You are just making a point. You could also film the video with your phone on screen and talk at the same time. That is much harder for the algorithm to content it because it's distorted. However, you usually don't need to go that far. Just wondering. After I watched the fake guru video, which was like 90% copyrighted video material, how do you expect the video to stay online? It falls within fair use. I'm not the only channel on YouTube that uses movie clips or clips from other videos. There are countless other content creators using movie clips in their videos, channels that are bigger than mine, and they have had no issues with copyright strikes. One of the biggest Italian creators has those reaction movie clips all over his videos, and I'm 100% he's monetized. I recommend really pushing that Instagram account now, so in case anything does happen to your videos or channel in terms of copyright, you would be able to fall back on followers there to start again. Maybe even a blog. One of your vids came up on my homepage last week. I've subbed now. Keep us posted on how you get on. I am just here to tell you congratulations. Less than 3. Good luck for the future. Congratulations for the channel. I saw your fake gurus video as recommended in my YouTube home and I immediately liked it. When you talked about on your video about wealth, I suspected I would find you here. Keep up the great points made. Thanks for the clear answer. Since I've never uploaded other people's work before, it's hard to predict what will happen. You don't want the video you've worked for so hard get taken down, or even worse, get your channel taken down because you've got too many copyright strikes in a short period of time. I'm currently in research mode but definitely already preparing the first video. Doing the research etc. It's a long way to go as I also definitely need to up my editing skills, but I've set the goal that my first video is uploaded before the 1st of July. Makes sense. Thanks for the answer. I get your last point, but of course, it takes down the production quality if you put some manual filmed content in there for the sake of avoiding contented. I believe that's already starting off the wrong foot anyway. Black hat stuff. One of the most amazing updates I've read on the forum. Super excited for you, and super impressed with your toxic video. Gold. Awesome. And rightfully deserved. I think this is a very exciting thread at the moment because James is going to reach 1 million this year. Guaranteed. Other YouTubers starting out will be able to harbor so much advice and value here, and I think that's amazing. I actually cannot fathom how much good energy exists on this forum. It's actually quite scary. I've just caught up on creating a course document as you go along. People are following you. And your video quality is literally remarkable in that people are remarking on them. Many will no doubt want to be able to create videos like that. Not only that, you've got experience creating and growing a YouTube channel and can advise people who want to do the same. You can teach people things you picked up acting that can help others who are nervous on camera. My goodness. But remember your very first video and how you were so nervous? You're inundated with messages now, which is great. What about giving people a chance to learn more from you sooner rather than later? Your course doesn't have to be polished at all. You could literally make a paid membership area where people can follow along as you build your business. I have a small paid email newsletter where I just write about what I'm up to and my learnings. You mention. I like their model and am moving my Google Ads course into another Thinkific instance where people can access all core courses for a price of $X every 3 months. You can test pricing, of course. I mention this because I want to have some core courses, but then also add some quick progress thread style courses and behind the scenes videos. People want to look over my shoulder and have asked to. I'll see how that goes. The beauty is that it's raw. But some people will want that or even prefer it. So knock something up quickly, slap a price on it, ideally recurring, and let people give you their money. Even if it's $9 or month to follow your updates as you grow your channel, I'm sure you'd get more than a few takers. I would, even just to see how you figure out that side of it. The tech is irrelevant. Is using Kajabi? Is using WordPress? I don't know what is using. I'm using Thinkific because it has a free level to get started with, although that's only for 3 courses and no membership feature. To allow the membership or subscription feature, I've upgraded to the $99 or month package already paid for this month by my first subscriber. My paid email newsletter is on Substack, but I may end up moving it into Thinkific as a progress thread course. Happy to have a quick Zoom to go over what I've been doing. That blew up. Awesome work, James. Quick question. As I'm preparing the first video and updating myself on the YouTube algorithm, I see all these channel experts talk about keyword research, tags, etc. Stuff that is, I believe, not really important anymore. The research you've shared here is absolutely invaluable. Because had you not shared the videos in the beginning of this thread and also the Reddit content from Internet Historian, I would have probably fallen for it. Now I know better though. Metadata is nearly not as important as center and retention rate. The algorithm will do the rest, relevant keywords or not. Now, of course, for search it's still important you include some keywords. I've searched for fake gurus and your video is on top. Great work, and in my opinion including those 2 keywords in your title is all that is needed to rank in search, considering the rest of the video is amazing. In my opinion, Having a high center title always trumps having the right keywords in the title. What are your thoughts on this? Are my notions correct, or is metadata still that important in your eyes? P.S. I believe a part of your success also has to do with the catalog notion from Internet Historian. I believe this is the one thing that almost all channels do wrong. They just upload content to stay consistent and for uploading sake. All medium quality. I believe the less uploading with higher quality content totally relevant to your channel and viewers also is a much more stable strategy long term. Consider what YouTube will be in 10 years. It will be just like TV 30 years ago. Content needs to be exceptional quality. Work. Your video editing skills are quite good. Impressive actually. You have only been editing videos a couple of months. I have been thinking about starting a YouTube channel for a while, and this is of great inspiration. If you do not mind me asking, what microphone and software do you use? And yes, I properly started getting into editing when I started the channel, and from there on it was a case of constantly learning new things, and making improvements with each video. Blue Yeti Nano Premiere Pro, Adobe After Effects, Photoshop. I only started using After Effects from the recession video onwards. I use it for animation, and title graphics. EOS M50 Canon. I think the tech is less important. I'm curious how you decide on what topic to create a video for, and then your current process for scripting it, recording the audio, then adding the video. I had a YouTube coach for a few weeks, and some of what he showed is related to what you're doing, and some I ditched, which also brings it more in line with what you're doing. I'll write up more later. You're the guy getting results, so you're the guy people want to follow. People listen to experts. They follow leaders. Dan Glopoo. So I would definitely say that your SEO and other such metadata matter at the start. I don't think it should be ignored completely. The most important aspects of your video that are necessary to rank in searches are the first few words of your title, and the first sentences of your description. If both of these things match certain phrases or keywords, you have a higher chance of ranking on the search for those terms. It seems like tags aren't used for much when it comes to SEO. But I have a suspicion that tags are used by YouTube to determine the subject of your videos so that they know which ads they can run on it. And yes, I definitely agree. The catalog strategy, I guess we'll call it that for now, has definitely played a big role in keeping audiences tuned into the channel, despite longer upload times between videos. Yeah, I don't think the tech is all too important when starting out. But then it has the potential to have viewers tune off immediately simply because of the audio quality. This is why I invested in the microphone right at the start, and still used an iPhone camera to record, because I was wary of just how off-putting bad audio can be on a video. I'll talk more about the whole process of making a video down the line, although I'm going to be posting quite a bit about it on my socials, because it seems like my audience have a huge interest in it. The strategy I was to employ was to create a series of videos that are daisy-chained together, then run ads to the first video to get it going. Obviously the quality has to be good enough that people want to watch to the end, and then binge-watch the series. I didn't get started on it as it wasn't a priority for me. Something to consider though, as a way of getting early traction and to test the initial video in the series. Something I didn't like from the strategy I was to follow was that I was supposed to be on screen. I don't think I need to be on camera. At least not all the time. I wanted to create a script and read that, but couldn't read it while looking at the camera. I think the problem was because the goal was to build a YouTube channel and personal brand instead of help people and get paid, which I prefer as a goal, as you all know. It's funny how your toxic video does not have you on camera much, and it's much more likely to build your personal because you're not trying to build a personal brand with that video. An idea I had was to take content that resonates with folks in the forum, record me reading it, then get someone to create a video from it. Easy VSL could be a quick way to test this, but obviously it's not as engaging as your videos. It's a start though. So those were the changes I wanted to make to my coach's strategy, and to start with new channels and test how to get them going with paid ads initially. I'm currently using Samsung S20. Is that good enough? You're the dude who just hit my recommended with a video tearing down how fake gurus use legit marketing to lie to people. Very awesome. I like your work. Keep doing good stuff. In the time it took to read this thread, your channel got 1,300 more subscribers. And I say you absolutely deserve it. The editing is masterful and the viewer wants to watch the video. It is magnetic. Keeps pulling the viewer along. Looking forward to your next ones. I subscribed and sent you a PayPal donation this morning. You deserve this success. Not too sure about Samsung phones, since I've always been an iPhone person, but purely based on price point, I think it should be fine. Yeah, I actually think there are plenty of channels out there that don't include their faces, but are doing a great job. I only wanted my face in there for the additional personal touch, but it isn't a massive deal breaker if your face isn't there. But just like your senses, when one thing is cut off, everything else is enhanced. So when you're not on camera, you have to put even more work on your narration, and making your tone, clarity, and diction even more clearer. But those are all things that can improve with practice anyway. Thank you so much for the donation, my friend. I saw a donation today, but never got around to sending a thank you email in response. And those are very kind words. My ultimate goal with the videos has always been to create that sense of narrative and story that keeps you compelled to keep watching, which I'm so glad it's translated across. No problem, man. 600 more subscribers in the last 45 minutes, but who's awesome counting? Progress. I'm buying that course when it comes out. You're impacting lives, my friend, even mine. Got this via email. I love this. Do good work. Make it remarkable. People will share it. Good things happen. Anyone? We've got two great examples here for the price of one. Me too. Consider these as your shut up and take my money moments. I get them too and could have acted on them sooner. Set some course up and let people give you their money. Do it this following week. That is amazing. Ahahaha. Well, as I said, I'm glad I've put people on your books. Just like Andy said, it's a perfect example of I was paid a grand total of nothing from MJ to not only recommend his books on 3 of my videos, but also dedicate an entire video to it, all because I believed in the messages and principles of those books and thought it was worth sharing and creating a video about. I'm trying my best to get some sort of course going, but I have to admit, things are getting quite overwhelming. My biggest priority right now is getting this next video out. But my God, is it a giant project that I can only reasonably expect to be out in the next 4 to 5 weeks. And I'm working pretty ungodly hours at the moment to do that, as well as keep up with important emails or messages that are being sent through. I don't want to rush through the course either. Whilst I aim to first make an MVP version of it, and gradually improve the course over time, I still want to make sure I'm teaching it properly and haven't just scrambled to put something together for the sake of a cash grab. Right now, ad revenue is paying me ridiculous amounts of money, if I do say so myself, so I'm being a little patient with the course. But I'll start recording lessons for it as soon as this next video is done. Again, it's me completely on my own doing this at the moment, so it's definitely become a bit daunting over the last few weeks with what's been going on, but I'm going to get more to grips with the processes behind running this channel, and hopefully begin to outsource or hire others to help me and ease off the stress as time goes on. Since reading my course has changed from going nowhere to my vision, thanks MJ. Rather than addressing your viewers about the delays till the next video, why don't instead you release teasing screenshots on your Instagram or YouTube stories leading up to the video? Hype them up until release. Get them talking to each other about what it could be about. Add me to the list. I will be buying this course you have coming out. Definitely going to be doing this. I already have the teaser trailer for this video ready, and I'm going to be utilizing the YouTube Premiere feature to add some extra hype. But I'll be doing this closer to the release date. Just read this thread now for the first time. Really inspirational stuff. Good luck, man. The Toxic World of Self-Help video was recently recommended to me on YouTube. It certainly piqued my interest with over 400k views. Come here and I find this thread, haha, all the best, sooner than I expected. Nice catch. Here's another great videos, man. Just subscribe. You said what everyone wanted to say, but didn't have the balls to. Yeah, I saw this. Really surreal when I watch someone else reacting to my stuff. Before, I would watch other people react to my favorite YouTubers, and now I'm the person being reacted to. Very strange feeling. It all happened cause you did the research, made good content, figured out how to use the algorithm correctly, and kept up the work. Your videos are and now you've got raving fans. Also congrats on 100k subs. It's been really cool to watch all this unfold over the last few months. I was sub number 35, haha. Keep up the good work. Legend, subs. Aha, yeah? I remember when first starting this thread thinking damn, looks like it's only Andy that's been reading any of these entries lmao, and then you chimed in with the support and that gave me a little boost to continue posting. Super grateful man. And I'm glad that you've seen this whole thing unfold as well. It's none of our business, but YouTube ad income is hard to estimate. Can you see a general metric, like X per view or X dollar per subscriber? Or is it related to your kick-ass viewer retention, which is probably amazing? More than happy to share. After all, I wanted to be as transparent as possible with this thread. I'm going to be making a full post explaining how ad revenue works on YouTube soon, but for now I'll just break down my own stats. Remember that these differ from channel to channel, depending on the niche of the videos you choose to create. So, my average CPM, the amount of money I get per 1,000 views, is currently £13.66. This can fluctuate here and there, but it's overall been around this figure. Now, you only get paid per monetized view, meaning when someone actually sees the ad. So if someone has ad block on, you don't get paid. I've had about 1.2 M monetized playbacks. In other words, 1.2 million people have seen ads on my videos, and this has given me an estimated revenue of £8,359.74. And trust me, I'm very aware of how effing insane that figure is, considering we've only been monetized for 11 days. From what I've seen, the estimated revenue figure that YouTube gives me is fairly accurate and usually what you end up getting at the end of the month. But when I know for sure, I'll make a post about it. So yeah, it's all about views. Subscribers are nothing but a vanity metric. Hope that helps. Whoa. I didn't know you were on this forum. Your two videos, the one about money and the one about fake gurus, were what made me pick up Fastlane, and now here I am just starting to figure out my own Fastlane after just having finished reading both books back to back. I don't know why your videos were recommended to me, because I don't think I typically watch that kind of stuff, but I'm glad they were. Best of luck with your YouTube channel. I'm not sure what it was about those videos, but you just seemed so genuine to me for some reason, or that you were talking about stuff that I always felt was true but just didn't know it. Check out this site. You can type in a YouTuber's name and see approximate revenue. Their range given is pretty wide, but would you say it's accurate at all? Does amount paid vary with the country the YouTuber is in, or just the country from PPL watching? You are the most inspirational poster I've seen on here yet. 19 years already, and making more than what most adults make per month over their lifetime. Amazing. Oh man, that's amazing to hear. I'm glad you've started your journey through MJ's books. I remember coming across this forum for the first time after reading them back to back as well and going through some of the gold threads. You should definitely read up on them, and once you've done enough reading, go take some action. Very excited for you, friend. Yes, I'm familiar with Social Blade. I can confidently say that Social Blade's estimates on a channel's earnings are very inaccurate, at least on my part. I don't know what calculations they're making to get their figures, but the earnings of every channel vary so much that it's damn near impossible to accurately predict how much they earn. And I'm pretty sure that the amount paid varies with the country the people are watching from, not what country the user is in, although I may have to double check on that one. And I'm so glad to have been an inspiration to you. Not in a million could I have imagined to be in this position right now so soon, and we're only getting started. This seems ridiculously high. Where are you finding this number? On the YouTube backend, in your analytics. Thanks. Mine shows $16 CPM, which is pretty much like yours. Had no idea it was that pricey. Thanks. I just wish I knew about something that laid out these seemingly glaring obvious truths back when I was your age. I'm in my mid-30s I could have been living my dream already. I guess all I can do is look ahead and do my absolute best to create my rightful future. When I saw your channel I thought it was incredible that you had so much engagement and so many views for such a new channel. You must have just really hit a string with your subject matter and pulled everyone in. Good for you. I take full credit then. Joking of course. I like seeing people in motion and helping with a bit of support. I'd if it's wrong, but hell dude, 4K subscribers every day and 104K annual earnings? Who would have thought you did start earning so much in just 4 months? Nonetheless, it's yet another example of assumption being the mother of all Kudos on 100K. Great work. I was watching your videos and subbed cues. I agreed with what you're saying and the production quality is fantastic. Had no idea you were on this forum. Great work, man. I'm sure your channel will go much further if you've had this much success in this short amount of time. 1,000 subscribers by 2021 was your initial goal. Look where you are now. Not only has this been exciting to read so far purely to celebrate your success, but also for the many gold nuggets you have dropped along the way. Congratulations. You've been a great student of how YouTube works, and I'm glad the algorithm caught up. The content is high quality and very likely to cause the binge watch effect, which is one of the main triggers for viral growth on the platform. I run a 130K plus channel and have built a pretty successful business around it, among other things. Happy to share some thoughts with you and help out a young entrepreneur who's in it for the right reasons. Just gave you a follow on IG. My username is Mario Tomic. Cheers. Please kindly share your progress too if it's okay, thanks. That's a very broad question and I definitely don't want to hijack this thread. Having been on YouTube since 2015, I've seen changes to what the algorithm prefers. What is doing seems to be the way to go in 2019 or 2020. YouTube's algorithm is optimizing to keep users on the platform as long as possible and improve overall user experience. Things like the subscriber count matter a lot less these days compared to in the past. Browse features traffic, specifically home, is the main metric you want to be looking at for viral growth. Another one people mention is the suggested video traffic. Based on my data, browse or home is king. Most of those views will come from non-subscribers. YouTube decided to show your video after a series of split tests that measure average watch time and all forms of engagement, as well as session ends if people leave to different websites or stay on YouTube. I believe proposed a hypothesis about split testing early or in the thread. It does match my own research. High quality engaging videos can also resurface and go viral weeks or months after being published, which is great news for new creators. Another thing that's great these days is new analytics data. You can really learn a lot about your audience and what works. There's a lot more competition on YouTube than ever before, but I would say it's still my #1 platform recommendation for personal branding and business, as your content has potential to go viral and you could have a decent size audience within months. Interesting stuff. Thank you for sharing, Mario. It's definitely good to hear from the perspective of someone who's been in the YouTube game and I can certainly agree with you. YouTube can be such a powerful tool for branding, and you never know what could happen. My fake guru video took off months after it was posted, and that sealed the deal on the rest of the channel. Also, I shot you a message on Instagram. That's insane. You have a very good talent for YouTube. Keep it going. I've been doing at least one video a week since September 2019 and nothing is moving. The market is telling you something. I have some thinking to do with my own channel. LOL. Would like to make mention that the response to videos, the swelling of subscribers, is a perfect example of the feedback loop. The market has reflected an indication of value, and I'm sure James is feeling intense feelings of passion. It's terribly hard to produce videos when you have no audience, or the audience doesn't like your content. With a fired and connected feedback loop, I'm guessing that producing new videos won't require much motivation now, and that the drive to push harder is now easier. That's the power of a feedback loop which fires passion. This thread is super interesting and very motivating. It has me rethinking my own approach and maybe cutting back in posting each week to work on much higher quality. I just rewatched some of your content and it's clear a lot of effort goes into the concept or strategy. Do you have any advice for an established channel on how to go about making improvements? If you ever start a YouTube growth course, let me know. You got a lot you can teach people. You've motivated me, bro. I will come back to this thread with results by December 2020. Congrats. For the monetization stuff for using other people's works, it is allowed on YouTube the way you edited it. Love all these guys coming out with videos on our hero. This one digging into the impending war. Yup. Can confirm that I'm now working to produce higher quality videos on the back of all the positive feedback I've gotten. Whereas before I would end my days playing a video game, or doing some YouTube binging, I'm now watching videos on Premiere Pro and After Effects to help me learn new techniques and tricks. Also, I'm reading a lot more during my 5-minute breaks between video editing. For those that are curious, I'm using the Pomodoro technique to keep myself productive. But I'm also making sure that I don't get burnt out. I'm clocking in about 12 hours a day of working, which I can keep up for a while. But I know that the gas tank will likely last for a year or so until it breaks and some form of recuperation will be needed. Which on that note, if anyone has any advice on how to avoid burnout or recover from one, would love to hear it. There's definitely a lot of strategies or advice that I have right now, but I'm trying to validate it all through my channel first. I would definitely recommend posting out higher quality videos to most channels. In the current ecosystem of social media, where people just pump out content non-stop, if you go the extra mile to produce something of higher quality, I think that could benefit you greatly. But there are of course, more nuances to it as well that I'm still working out. I think I might make a YouTube course in the future, once I'm happy with the video editing course, and I've properly validated my ideas and strategies for growing on YouTube. How you mean to continue? If you don't want to work 12-hour days later on, then consider the working day you'd like and do something close to that. Also, go for strolls. I used to go for 45-minute strolls every evening before settling in for my evening shift at the computer. No rush, no stopwatch. Let your mind chatter away, making sense of what's on your mind. I'd come over with a sense of calm. I'd also know what I needed to do next, rather than be overwhelmed with a big to-do list. I get it though. Sometimes we need to go faster. We can't break tackles at marathon pace. Blaise Brosnan. I personally don't believe growing a business is a marathon, not a sprint. I think business is more a series of sprints than a marathon. Just remember, you can't sprint forever. 2 days ago, I saw a video on my home page that kept popping up. I decided to go ahead and click it, knowing full well I'd probably click off of it after the first few seconds depending on how the content was. It was about the rise of fake gurus and it piqued my curiosity. I was mesmerized by the content, so much so I began to look at the other videos on the channel. By the end of the video about self-help, I subscribed because not only was the content great, the production value was incredible. I shared it privately with one of my work friends. She loved it and mentioned how great it was. I had never read anything from, so I decided to go ahead and get the audiobook, which I'm in the process of listening to now and is mind-blowing. I also have Fastlane waiting to be heard as well. My point to all this was that your videos brought me here and I am surprised and encouraged by your work. I wish I had had as much foresight when I was your age, but I didn't. Regardless, I'll be listening and watching as you grow, and I really hope you continue to put out high-value content, as this is currently my desire to do as well, albeit in a bit of a different niche. 2 things: 1. Your voice, like others have mentioned, is part of the reason I was so captivated. I want to hear more, and no, this isn't some type of old lady fantasy. But the fact that you have a good commanding tone helps you deliver your message. 2. I would like to be part of the beta when you have the video course if possible. If you haven't started a mailing list for this yet, I suggest you do, and I will subscribe. Thank you for such great work and showing how to take videos to a whole nother level. Wow, can't wait for your next video. That's why I am here. watched all your videos and got the TFFM book. And I just want to say thanks. Well, MJ should say thanks, and I am about to start. Keep it up. You got an excellent recipe. Very normal, natural, brilliant. I know how you feel. Couldn't get enough of his videos. Just finished Fastlane, starting unscripted. Well done, young man. I am just glad the only money I spend was on that video and books. As I already expected, other big YouTubers are noticing James and are now creating videos about him left and right. On top of all the other staggering influence you've exercised on everyone so far, you are also a source of inspiration. I mean, the growth you are experiencing on YouTube is almost unheard of, because, really, all that you need to know to do the same can be found by analyzing James' first posts in this thread as well as his YouTube channel and videos. Don't wait for his course. Do your research. Just came here to say that if it wasn't for James' amazing videos on YouTube and his recommendation to read there, I wouldn't have found this community. Keep up the great work. Just came across your channel today, James. Very impressed with every aspect of your production. It's easy for me to see why it's blowing up. The second job I ever had was working in the butcher's shop when I was 14. There was one lesson I learned there that stuck with me. My teacher, the owner, told me not to sell the prime cuts but all the others first. I asked why. His reply: your content is some of the best I've seen on YouTube. Keep up the great work. Your skills are blowing my mind. Everything is connected so well. Your storytelling, editing, research is created in such a beautiful way. And it's not just that. You need to have a lot of knowledge and be competent to plan these videos. With these skills you can take any boring topic and make it entertaining. Respect. Where do you find your movie clips? Just YouTube? How do you learn to edit as you go? Did you learn storytelling and filmmaking? Throw me some resources if you can. I assume you have read a lot about these topics and while creating the video you learn and refine your knowledge more. Is it? You both inspired me and kicked my ass with my failed YouTube channel. I'm going to research the hell out of you to improve my video production. Thanks. Same here. Finished TFLM and busy with. Thanks to James. That's awesome. I found your video after watching CoffeeZilla. Good find. I've watched that guy's videos before. In this particular video he was asking for more information about background or journey because he's going to do a video breaking down how James grew his channel. So here's some of my takeaways from this thread. Quality beats lower quality quantity, and this thread and MJ's books show that it's not even close. However, there's threads in here including mine where people give themselves a challenge to do something once a day for X number of days. I still stand by those challenges for a few reasons. There is a famous parable in the book Art and Fear that goes like this: if I want to learn or get into something new, then I want to do it many times and I want to cycle through the process as rapidly as possible. I set myself a 30-day challenge with a goal to putting things out there daily for public scrutiny. But I'm not trying to grow a following or get traction. My goal is to get better at it, and observe the market feedback to see what works or not. My goal is to come up with a process, and to get it. It's a vastly different thing to do something ourselves rather than just read it in a book or follow someone else doing it. Once I've done something multiple times and am even getting bored of it, then I have a much better vision of how it should be done best. Now I stop and think about how to make the best version I can. I created quite a videos on my personal YouTube channel. One suddenly got a lot of thankful feedback. I was surprised. I put ad spend behind it, and it got more views and likes. For tiny ad spend. I've retired to my bat cave to mull over how to create the best version of that video I can, so it's super short and to the point, which is a common theme in the positive feedback I get from my videos and course. I'll do it again and see if that can generate email signups. If it does, then I have the bones of a replicable strategy. I'll then create a brand new channel where I use those learnings from scratch, without a library of a few years worth of random videos. So yeah, strive for perfection, but consider getting there sooner by getting out there sooner. Super inspiring thread. Oh man, this was so inspiring and surreal. I had this thread bookmarked after MJ shared it on his Instagram story a few days back. And then today I saw your Kevin Systrom video in the suggested videos of MJ's latest excellence video. I was wondering who this James Jenny is and why I haven't heard of him before. First thought was some fake guru lol. Anyway, I clicked on it and thought the video was pretty cool. Then I started reading the bookmarked thread later in the day, and the first video here was of you, from Jan 2020, with around 100 subs. Mouth, greater than floor, haha, super impressive and well done. Went back and saw your videos are great. Love the cinematic editing, content and your voice. Combine that with the effort you are putting in, it's perfect combo for viral success. And thanks for sharing your journey and all the tips. I'm curious where you get the music and stock footage for your videos from other than the film clips. Is there some kind of subscription website you use? I recently started a YouTube channel as well where I do coding tutorials. The first video was the most nerve-wracking to put out, so I can totally relate to you. Took me 5 weeks and I reshot it many times, but it was well received, and since then I've been doing one a week. Currently on number 3, I'm on 150 subs in 3 weeks, and I'm going to apply all the techniques from the start of your thread and optimize center and watch time. It just started as a side gig for me, as a way for me to practice improving my speaking skills and drive traffic to a future course, but I can see the potential now and it growing into another revenue stream, so I'm going to focus on quality more from now as well. I do have a quick suggestion for you. In all your videos you are calling out people to subscribe and display an animated subscribe icon in the bottom center of the screen, but you don't have an in-video subscribe or watermark button. This got me a bit annoyed when I first saw your video. I looked around for the watermark first but didn't want to leave the full screen and then just left without subscribing. I did come back and subscribe after reading the thread though, but the fact is that the in-video subscribe lets people subscribe right then while staying engaged to the video. YouTube calls this the video watermark. You can find it in channel, greater than settings, greater than watermark, and it's enabled for all your videos. You can also move your James Jenny logo from bottom left to become the watermark bottom right, and when people hover over it, it will bring up the subscribe button. You should still keep the subscribe plus bell icon call out at the end to remind them and have them notified. I didn't know the bell was a thing till I saw your video. It's insane looking at your May 6, 2020 to 643 subscribers, June 6, 2020 to 159,000. I experienced this myself on Instagram at a smaller scale, 1K, greater than 30K in 2 months, so I know how exhilarating the feeling is. Kudos once again. P.S. Looking forward to your course. Plaza, take my money. Yes, put a wee subscribe watermark on the videos. I had to create one and have linked to it here. Greater than. They have official ones on the YouTube also minus the text. I took this and mixed it with my initials to give a personal touch, similar to how MJ has his. Just changed it now. Not too sure what to think about it, but let me know your thoughts. Looks nice and discreet. It's there if people go looking for it. The quality and content of your videos, especially the toxic world of self-help, is amazing. Congrats. Your third eye comment hit me right in the face. I have 2 books about that damn thing you're mentioning. Of actual good books in the end is also a very nice addition of value. I like to filter out books referred by people who have proven that they know what they are talking about, so the power of now is added to my list. I like it. It's discreet like Andy said. I had some trouble deciding what to do here in my case as well. 2 options are either your own logo or name, or the subscribe icon or word. With the subscribe icon or word, viewers are constantly reminded to subscribe, and if they run into a part of the video they like, they might just hit it there, versus the logo or initials or name look more professional and give it the cable TV channel look. But not everyone might know it's a subscribe button, although I would assume people on YouTube are now used to it and would probably hit it when your call out appears. In your case you already have your name in the bottom left, so this does work well. But I would personally come up with an image or logo, since you have a documentary or cinematic look to your videos, and the subscribe word always being there might not fit the aesthetic. but it's up to your taste and you could experiment with different options maybe. I think either works tbh. Here is some context into how impressive this progress is, and a sneak into where this could lead to. This YouTuber went on to have massive success and become very well known. In this video he is talking about his first crazy growth stage, 50k subs in 2 months. It is totally nuts that has done like double that with no signs of slowing down. I think he's on a very similar trajectory to millions subs, and it is really cool to see that on top of that he has his very own unique style or approach that is clearly very well liked. Exciting thread for sure. Agreed. This and the fact that this is a front row seat of A in action. So far, Valia has mentioned MJ's books in 3 videos which at the moment have around 1.5 million views total. This will probably reach to around 10 meters plus once he reaches a few mil subscribers with $0 marketing on MJ's part. I can see this cycle being repeated with Valia's channel and fans as well. Shows how important it is to have an excellent product which provides massive value and stands out from the crowd. I'm seeing so many new users state on their first post that they are here because they heard about the forum in a video that they saw on YouTube. I'd been watching Matt's videos on and off for a while now, but that's crazy to put into perspective. I think I've said this countless times before, but it just feels so surreal to me. Right now, editing videos is my only form of normality amongst everything that's going on. I wish that was my normality too, lol. Edit. I really think the Fastlane would go viral because of your videos. My first paycheck from YouTube arrived yesterday in the form of an AdSense deposit and, as promised, in this quick update I'll dive into how YouTube monetization works, and break down my own stats. Pretty sure I've mentioned it before, but in order to monetize your videos on YouTube the requirements as of June 2020 are that you must have, and hours of watch time in the last 12 months. Once you hit that, YouTube will tell you to open up an AdSense account, and once that's done, you have to wait for YouTube to review your channel before allowing you to monetize videos. If you get the go-ahead, then you're free to monetize your videos as you wish. You don't have any say in ads will appear in your videos since this is determined by looking at the metadata of your video and deciding which ads would be most relevant to that video. But you have control over how many ads you want. Here's a little look at the monetization settings for one of my videos. Typically, people will keep all types of ads on, and will place an ad before the video starts, as well as after. If you upload videos that are 10 minutes or longer, you'll be allowed to run mid-roll ads. These are the ads that run midway through a video, and you can apply multiple mid-roll ads per video. An example of what the settings for a mid-roll ad look like on my video. Although it's not been confirmed, the common rumor is that mid-roll ads will actually make the algorithm favor your video much more, as well as allowing you to make more money from it. Makes sense, since YouTube is a business and wants the videos that are longer and have more ads in them to be promoted for the benefit of their advertisers. Whilst some people fear putting mid-roll ads in because it could annoy their audience, I still don't think that's a good enough reason to leave it out unless you're going completely overboard. Most people on YouTube, including myself, are used to seeing ads by now, and it's only 5 seconds worth of hindrance to your viewers. Not to mention if you're spending hours and hours creating these videos, then you'd be doing yourself a disservice by not trying to get the algorithm to push your video more favorably, and make a little more money from it. The age-old question of how much YouTube pay. Well, the answer is here's how it goes. This is otherwise known as your CPM. A CPM of £2 on one video will mean you get paid £2 per 1,000 views on that video. The massive variable here is your CPM, because everyone's going to have something different depending on their niche. You can find your CPM in your back-end analytics. A niche that is likely to have more advertisers throwing money at it is going to have a higher CPM. For example, the personal finance niche has a high CPM of usually £10+. I have also heard that the beauty or makeup niches have extremely high CPMs as well, since advertisers know that someone watching a makeup tutorial has a higher chance of pulling out their wallet and spending money on beauty products. What's important to note is that if all your videos are within the same niche, then they'll likely have similar CPMs per video. Whereas in my case, one video can have a CPM of £6, whilst another can have a CPM of £17. YouTube will pay whether they watch only 5 seconds, the full thing, or whether they click on the ad. It doesn't matter. Once they see it, you are paid, and this amount doesn't change depending on how much of the ad they've watched. This only affects the advertiser themselves. What's important to note here is that you are paid when they actually see the ad. If someone is running ad block, you are not going to be paid. YouTube allows you to see how many of your views were monetized views in their backend analytics, which I'm going to show you in just a moment. So, I've been monetizing my videos since the 17th of May, 26 days ago from this post. My average CPM across all videos is currently my estimated monetized playbacks are. Unfortunately, multiplying these two numbers together will not give an accurate result on my earnings since they are just estimates and averages. My total estimated earnings since monetizing has been YouTube pays you based on your previous month's earnings. In the month of May I made an estimate of YouTube paid me a total of directly into my AdSense account only £44.85 shy of the estimated earnings. Side note, YouTube will only allow you to withdraw any funds on your AdSense account if they exceed £100. I hope that answers some of the questions you've had regarding YouTube monetization. And yeah, that first paycheck was more money than I've earned in my life. I'm not planning on withdrawing it into my bank account yet, until I register as a limited company, so I only pay corporate tax on it, allowing me to pay myself as an employee and strike that off as a business expense. I'm nearing the end of this next video, and I'm pouring the majority of my waking hours on editing this thing, but I'll occasionally pop by the forum on my breaks and answer any questions you have. Holy shit man, that's insane. Congratulations. Very nice information. I had no idea that you get to choose the mid-row ads, always wondered why they are how different per video. Thanks so much for your update and transparency. Once again, super happy and proud of you. I was thinking of doing a health channel occasionally scattered with a beauty video, since I'm both a GP and cosmetic doctor. Do you think that's a bad idea? Will my channel be labeled as a health channel instead of a beauty one, and have a lower CPM? Or does the CPM depend on the individual video and not the channel as a whole? When I read ice cream, that's more than what I make in a month, and I went through an extremely tough program, and working a pretty tough job for almost 10 years to not even get there. Seriously rooting for you. I think you should also consider a fans-only account. Since you already have a fan base, you can further monetize your audience by letting them ask you more personalized questions about their financial situation, etc. for a subscription fee. That's what I plan to do once I've built an audience. And people will pay for FaceTime or custom videos, yada yada etc. The numbers can add up pretty quickly, I reckon. Great info. Thanks James. Interesting about getting paid regardless of length of ad watch. I hadn't expected that, as I believe advertisers only get billed after either an engagement click-through or watching 30 seconds plus, or the entire ad if shorter. Really looking forward to your next YouTube upload and your updates. Congratulations, that's crazy. Congratulations. Nice. Thanks for the info. You had some great points. This is huge. I haven't looked much into this area yet, so don't know how it entirely works as in the UK, but wouldn't the income already be considered earned when it's paid into your AdSense account? Since you did have a company when you received the earnings from YouTube, you would already owe taxes technically on it. But if it's paid into a limited company bank account as a first payment and an invoice is created to account for the payment, I don't think HMRC are going to go too nuts about it if they even pick up on it during an audit. They would be more concerned with it ending up in a private bank account and never being declared. You can set up a limited company in a matter of hours. Getting a business bank account though can take up to a couple of weeks with all the checks now in place. Honestly, thank you for supporting me. I sound like a broken record saying this, but you can't imagine how much it means to me. Yeah, you should have seen my parents' reaction when I told them how much I earned. They were blown away and overjoyed to hear it. Such an amazing feeling to see them that happy. And we've only gotten started. And go for it with the channel. Although I don't know for sure, I'm certain that the health niche has a high CPM. Any niche that really falls under the categories of health, relationships, or wealth, I'm going to immediately assume they have a high CPM. And what have you got to lose? Honestly, from your credentials it already sounds like you're going to know much more than 90% of health-based channels on the platform. The health niche is another one of those niches filled with all sorts of fake gurus and just overall bad advice. Plenty of gap in that market for someone genuine to come along. Yup, this is pretty much what I want to do with my Patreon, and I'm going to be talking about this more in a future update. But I severely underestimated the power of Patreon, and it's far better to have a stable monthly income than just relying on the algorithm alone. Although it's of paramount importance to me that I provide great amounts of value to my patrons, and that it doesn't feel like a simple cash grab. I actually need to make a revision on that update. I've just been doing a little more digging, and there's a lot of misleading and conflicting answers to this. But what seems to be the most plausible explanation is if they were running an ad with a selected goal of getting, then you are going to be paid as soon as someone sees the ad. If they were running an ad with a selected goal of getting, then you will be paid whenever someone clicks your ad. Going to revise my update post now to mark this correction. Yeah, this was pretty much my line of thinking as well, hoping to register the company by today or tomorrow, and currently searching for which bank I want to open the business account with, ideally one without fees. Let me know if you have any recommendations. Love this. Well done. I think you should make a transcribed version of your videos with screenshots and links on Medium as well. Do the work once, get paid twice. On a darker note, I want to get my YouTube channel paid under my company as well. For several reasons, but the most important thing is that in the event that I get sued for whatever reason, can I use the company to shield my losses? Or would I still be personally liable since I'm in the video and it has my name on it? I currently bank with HSBC and Lloyds. Both are typical high street banks. Took longer to set a company up through Lloyds, but I think that was due to the extra regs these days. You will get a year to 18 months free banking anyway. I'm considering opening an account with Starling. Heard good things and they are Bank of the Year 2020. If you haven't registered your company yet, I can recommend. Very pleased with their services, and so are others if you check out their feedback. Thanks for the info. If I were you, I would open another channel of documenting the process of creating videos. Then you can see how many people are interested, and also you will have content to refine when you actually make a course. You can also take a clip from your videos and explain how you did that. This is something I would maybe even go to your analytics and see what is the most popular minute in your audience retention and talk about how you created it. It might not be a good idea right now since you invest a lot of time making your main videos, but just an idea. Someone doing a breakdown of how grew his channel. A quote that will like is, "I didn't promise easy. I promised fast." Great progress, man. And videos. If you don't mind me asking, how are you able to gather all these movie clips? Are they just from YouTube torrent? Any issues with copyright claims? I understand the work you're doing falls under fair use, but still seems like it can get hairy. Saw this. I think Brian did a pretty good breakdown, to be honest. Much of the stuff he brought up reflects what I have been talking about on this thread, so big props to him. It's a fair concern to have. I'm slowly starting to adapt my content so that less and less move clips are used, and are instead replaced with animation and hopefully down the line 3D models or graphics using Cinema 4D. The channel Lemino does this beautifully. With it being said, I'm still not too worried since there have been countless amounts of channels out there that have been doing the same thing for years without any monetization issues. It is also of concern is the use of public figure faces. In your thumbnail there's case law that says public figures can defend use of their images, especially if used for commercial purposes. Michael Jordan sued Dominx for using his name and likeness, and it was with good intent. This was all they did and it was favorable. Considering James is not speaking highly of the two individuals in the thumbnail, my guess is they could bring a case. I'm not a lawyer and I understand that James is in the UK, but there is some above average risk here as opposed to just some standard video. Nonetheless, this has become one of my favorite threads as I look forward to reading the unfolding story. Congrats on the big first check. That's no coincidence. He has read this thread for sure. This is also on my radar, and I'm starting to self-educate myself on defamation laws and such. Also in the process of getting my insurance for this, just in case. Again, I do somewhat rely on the fact that YouTube has been cluttered with videos that talk about celebrities, businesses, and all walks of personalities in both positive or negative lights, using their faces in their thumbnails, and I've yet to hear of a single lawsuit being filed against them. The only lawsuit that I'm aware of was when the YouTuber H3H3, who reacted to other people's content, had someone come after him after he made a pretty negative video about the guy. Even so, H3H3 ended up winning the lawsuit, and that was that. Hugely honored to have you say that, MJ. I've been recently looking over some of my favorite posts on the forum, and it reminded me so much of how this forum kept me going over the last year and a bit. Especially when I was working my 2 jobs and as a real estate agent shortly afterwards. You've created something really special here, MJ. And I'm sure you already know it. Amazing idea, by the way, Jonathan. I 100% have the intentions of starting up a second channel once the workload has eased off with this first channel, and I'm confident that I can handle 2 channels. For now I was planning on releasing these behind the scenes and editing tutorial videos on my Patreon, which I'm going to be talking more about shortly, just to entice people to want to support the channel as a patron already. You could create a paid email newsletter documenting your progress. I've got one up on which was super simple to set up and is easy to update. I've been sending out little progress updates for over a year now. I can link to YouTube unlisted videos in email issues so that only people who've signed up can see those videos. You probably don't want those unlisted videos on your main channel. Mine started at $5 a month, but I increased it to $9 a month. I even wrote about your progress in my newsletter. +1 on this. Interested in hearing more about growing the Patreon side as well? Other things you can do is, allow early access 24 to 48 hours to upcoming videos for Patreon subscribers. This would also be ad-free since it's unlisted. Bonus footage like you mentioned, along with bloopers, funny or censored cuts, etc. Deleted scenes or episodes. Considering the controversial nature of some of your episodes, this could be a huge hit. You could also do uncut or director's cut versions. Their name in the credits as supporters. This way you can have an end credits roll and look like a proper film. Also curious, are you earning anything noteworthy from your affiliate links? Interested in how much revenue that adds when you have 1 meter plus views? Mainly asking because I signed up to the music subscription site from your affiliate link and wondering how many others did that or buy the books etc. as well. Great to see that money coming in for you. I hope it helps you make more great content and see even bigger growth. Are you planning on reinvesting anything back into production for now? Not that it needs it, but just curious. Just a quick note on CPMs. Making any video that is closely related to a product or service is going to get you very high numbers. I made a quick video on Wix once, not even promoting it, that has a CPM over $100. Great ideas. Already have the name and credits benefit for all of my patron tiers. And then those who are on the £5, £10 tiers get early access to new videos. I'm looking at a more efficient way of uploading the early screenings for the videos as opposed to doing it on an unlisted YouTube account. My fear is that the link can just be sent to whoever, which may cheapen the exclusivity of it all, and there's a risk of someone uploading it before it's released. I haven't checked recently, but I know that my affiliate earnings are pretty low, maybe like £30. With that being said, I don't have much stuff listed up, so I expect as I start buying more gear and adding it to my affiliate account, this number will grow. Epidemic Sounds only gives me a free month when someone signs up from my referral link, so no earnings on that front. Wow, what the FCK? I had no idea that doing a video on a specific product gave a CPM that high. That's incredible. I can only imagine what some of these kids' toy channels are getting. Thanks for this info. I don't intend on spending my money on other than improving my videos at the moment. I'm going to be getting a new mic and video camera for sure, and I'm looking to either buy or rent a proper studio to record these videos, or just save up for a house and live or work there as well. That will include some lighting purchases as well. My biggest issue as of right now is having my bedroom as the backdrop for when I physically appear in my videos, not to mention the terrible acoustics of the room. And yet it's still the best room in the house for me to use at the moment. Or I could also rent a place for the short term, but I'd prefer to just save that money for a deposit. That is money very well spent. I have struggled with the rent an office or spare bedroom or buy thing also. If you can buy, go for it. I have spent like 60k plus on rent over the last few years probably. Also, if you own the space you can really set it up right and dial it in. But renting is fine too if you want a quicker solution. Look for a house with 2 bedrooms and use the bigger one for recording. With lighting it can change things a lot. Here are 2 different videos made only 6 days apart. I didn't really do any lighting work in the top video and demo it looks quite bad. Bad lighting can make anyone look very tried or unhealthy very easily. On YouTube there are a ton of great lighting tutorials, so I am sure you will figure it out fast. It is going to be exciting to watch how your production keeps going up. Great work dude. Get a black screen for behind you, or dress it with bookshelf, lighting etc. There's a few videos showing how folks do that. I think the audio sounds good enough. That Brian G has a decent backdrop. It's dark with a small light in the background, and the focus is on his face. I'd love a studio with camera, mic, and lighting all set up, but I've a family to work around. Setting things up and taking them down each night wasn't feasible. Someone should come up with a folding studio. I posted my current setup and also found an interesting video on YouTube here. Vimeo might be a better option, and later you can transition to doing longer Vimeo on-demand videos as well. A green screen and softbox lighting kit would go a long way with your editing skills. Not sure about soundproofing or acoustics, but I'm sure there's stuff out there for home studios. It's night and day difference really. I fiddled around with my lighting setup at home, it's better, but too many shadows. I love the look of the blue in yours. I'm getting another light tomorrow and putting some sort of film over the light to change the color. It just adds to the video and makes it more professional. Any product or service? I wonder why people love to do review videos. Styling is really good. 24/7 live chat support and very easy to use. Man, I'm really motivated by you on starting back uploading on my small channel that I created during quarantine. I have like 35 subs and 20 short videos which for me are funny. I just had one completely blow up for my size, getting 10 views a day and nearing 200. I thought it was a bad video and wanted to remove it too. I'm completely unprofessional and more on the jokes side even with decent editing. I don't really want to make money off of it. I feel really good by watching my videos and right now I'm a little distracted on life. So even if I can focus 1 hour a day on that I'd be super happy. I still want to provide value on the matter of joy because I'm literally making a fool of myself just to make people laugh. My last videos I dance with my dog and make her talk when she does funny things with some classic music in the background. Some of my friends are crazy over my content but I'm too hesitant to share it on my social media accounts, which among Facebook, Insta etc. I have like 3,500 followers or friends. I guess if I shared I'd get a lot of views but nearly 0 subs because most people don't even have YouTube accounts. Also, I'm afraid of judgment from my parents if they find out. Good job on doing it right from the beginning, you are the best. By the way, Italian YouTubers seem to get to €1.40 dead precise per 1,000 views. One guy just shared his board on a 400k video which made him a little more than €500. It's crazy how different it is. Wow. That's actually an incredible difference. Damn. I really love the warm or cold colors, it creates such an intriguing or mystifying atmosphere, literally the exact sort of thing I would want in my videos. Definitely given me some great ideas, man. Thank you. God knows how it would work, but I'd be willing to throw my money at it. Yeah. Vimeo seems to be my only other option here, although I'm a little unsure as to how it would work exactly. How does using Vimeo for Patreon differ from just uploading an unlisted YouTube video and linking it to my patrons? I linked to this earlier. I thought it was quite ingenious. This is my setup at the moment. That light is ridiculously bright. I tape 2 sheets of paper over it to diffuse the light, and I record with it set to 12 out of 100 exclamation mark. This is what I bought. Seems out of stock, but at least you can see they're cheap as well as being small and light. LED lights. Yongnuo YN600 Air Pro LED Video Light Panel 5500K Color Temperature Brightness Adjustable, greater than mains power cable for above panel, greater than. I haven't really messed with the lighting much. It's good enough for lessons in my courses. I think the sound is fine, and would just like to hide the sockets behind me. I posted this to YouTube with that setup. Take the content with a pinch of salt, of course. Is doing it slightly differently and getting great results. Unlisted on YouTube is basically just a public video which doesn't show up in search or notify your subs, etc. Anyone who has the URL can still share the link on their website, etc. Vimeo lets you create a password, so your patrons will get access to that password and need it to unlock the video. People could share the password as well, tbh, but it's more of a mental block than sharing a URL. I think they have some DRM stuff to prevent downloads also. Not entirely sure. There's YouTube private as well, but it has a 50 user limit, so not sure if that would work for you. This only works for accounts you invite. Just popping here to say 2 things. Well done on your channel growth, and the reason I am here is due to consuming one of your vids where you mentioned MJ. As mentioned in my intro post. Second, nice to see another UK human here. Jeez, and here you are, you're almost at 200k subbies, and it's 2020. I freaking love your videos. Keep it up. Thanks for answering my previous question. I'm really quite impressed with the video editing quality and improvement in video editing from your first video to now. I've found the learning curve for video editing is quite difficult to overcome. I know you're thinking about releasing a course, but any general tips? A huge game changer for me was when I started actually at the video editing of other videos or documentaries or advertisements. When I actually kept my eye out for anything that made me go, oh wow, that's cool. I would screenshot it on my phone or save the link. These can be anything from a random video, a Netflix documentary, an advertisement, etc. Then I'd try and replicate a similar effect in my own video by watching YouTube tutorials, and although sometimes I may not get exactly what I had wanted, I will have definitely learnt about a new tool or technique that I end up using in the future. Sometimes it's not the fault of the person's video editing skills, more so than it is their imagination when video editing. A great many effects can be achieved with just a solid grasp on the basics of your video editing software. Let me know if that helps. I like the approach. Thanks, James. Definitely helpful. I've been doing the same thing. I'm looking differently at docu styles and looking at methods, transitions, etc. It's been eye-opening. Can't wait to get started. BTW, do you script everything out first and do the audio, or do the video and add the audio afterwards? Just seen your teaser video. Love the way you are building the anticipation. It will be interesting to see how many people are there for the launch. Well done on cracking 200k. I seen 212k a few minutes ago, so went to double check that was right, and it's now reading 213k. Lol, unreal growth. Here's to your first $250,000. Trailer was wicked, James mate. You're doing everything right with this channel. Here's the trailer if the rest of the forum hasn't seen it. Never heard of this Tyler One dude, but I'm definitely intrigued. James, aside from the video creation, you have a great voice. Americans love the English accent. Gives the content real authentic feel. Yup. The process normally goes, find the idea, search script, film, although sometimes I may find pieces of music along this process that I really enjoy and know that I'll end up using in the final product. Yeah. I don't think I've seen other channels try and do something where they build hype towards a video and premiere it almost like its own movie or TV show, so definitely want to experiment with it for the next few videos. Definitely interested to see what the actually premiere event will look like. But even if it's a low number, I'm honestly not bothered at all. I think I'm still incredibly early on this journey, and there's plenty of stuff to learn. Glad you enjoyed it, visionary. Really appreciate the support. As always, my friend, thank you, MJ. Yeah, I mentioned it on my last update before the channel blew up that I was going to be making a video that could be a little risky. One is obviously part of a niche community, or at least, a community that wouldn't normally be associated with the content of my own channel. I'll get into my reasoning or strategy behind making this video once it's released and I make the update post on it. Thanks again, MJ. Ahaha, I've been told that English accents are loved in the States, which is great considering the majority of my audience are American. Interesting to watch a YouTube success story unfold. It's far from easy, but you have proved that it's very possible when you play your cards right. Making content around the most profitable niche on YouTube CPM-wise is a good setup for massive AdSense revenue. I have a couple virals that have been paying me since 2016, so you could be seeing a steady paycheck for years to come, my friend. I've been on YouTube since its early years with ups and downs in my success. If you ever want to bounce ideas off each other, let me know. It's hard to find fellow YouTubers to network with that have gotten past the startup stage. Edit, had a chance to check out your channel. Phenomenal editing right off the rip. Do you have any editing experience prior to this channel? I can't fathom the incredible amount of time it would take a beginner to edit the quality of videos you are putting out. Unexpected to see you doing a vid on Tyler 1. My friends and I are pretty big Tyler 1 fans. Didn't even get into him for leak content, he's just such a good entertainer, it's fun to watch. Looking forward to it. I just saw the trailer. Never heard of this guy either, but now I want to hear the story. LOL plus, I can hardly wait to see how the revenue is doing for your channel. So exciting. And great work. Hello Valia, in one of your first posts you mentioned how important the click-through rate and the playback time are. Would you now confirm that afterwards? Maybe the question is a little indistinct, but could you give us a hint how the click-through rates and playback time in percent are for a real hit? That we have a benchmark for our own videos. How badly do these compare? I thank you very much in advance. If the question is too discreet, I understand it, of course. With best regards. Classic House. Yeah, I know. It's definitely out there. Comparing it to my content on the channel, I'd already been scripting it and editing it before the channel took off like it is now. And if I could go back, I might have picked a different topic to suit my audience more, but I'm super proud of how this one turned out, and it looks like there's no changing now. So yes, I've actually been talking to some other YouTubers on the platform, and the general consensus is a click-through rate of around 10 to 15%, combined with a watch time of 40 to 50% depending on the length of the video. Of course, is generally the recipe for a video that will be pushed by the algorithm. Bear in mind though, that as the algorithm continues pushing your video, you can expect the center to start decreasing. My Untold Truth About Money video has a center of around 3%, but is still getting thousands of views per hour. Hope that helps. So there must also be a connection between how well a topic can be pushed into other target groups. I think your videos have this entertainment factor. Documentaries on news channels are watched a lot, even though it is sometimes absurd topics like deep-sea fishing or something that most people in your life never concern. I see a combination of interesting facts, simply prepared for the masses seems to be a success factor. So is this type of video the iPhone that has easy access to technology for the masses as a basis for success for YouTube videos? I'm really curious how the new video view works. The topic is very niche. Edit, I really would have thought that the viewing time, with a real hit, is really longer in the direction of 60 to 70%. But the benchmark actually seems to be 50%. Still the best comment on this thread IMO. Consider investing in your buttery asset, voice training, and enunciate. Lol, think Orson Welles and Vincent Price. Be a whole new dimension to your videos. That trailer gave me the chills. Your voice does work really well with this kind of content. Never heard of this Tyler One guy either, but his 2.3 meters subscribers might be coming your way soon. I think it's a great move in broadening your reach and sounds like a compelling story as well. I see, I've recently started a channel and have two videos under my belt. One has 16.2% click-through and the other has 12.9%, but my watch time is hovering under 30%. Clearly I need to figure out how to make more engaging content. I've identified a few mistakes I made that cause big drops, so that should help. The general idea was to expand into a whole new niche or market. But I think I went a bit too niche with this next one, mostly from my own liking towards Tyler and being a fan of his from years ago. But we'll just have to see how things pan out. I'd actually say that's quite good to start off with, but this depends on how long the video is, and how much of a reach it's had. A 30% watch time is great on a 20+ minute video, not so much on a 7-minute video. I'm pretty bullish on this. With the audience you already have, it should be enough to get the algorithm to notice it pretty quickly, and T1 also has an extremely dedicated and loyal fan base, so I know they'd like to see a documentary video of this nature. There's currently 2 documentaries out on YouTube about him, and both have over 3 million views. At the very least, I know my friends and I will watch it. That was my thinking as well. I'm just so curious to see how this goes. Either way, this is by far the best produced video of the channel. Funnily enough, the trailer was on the front page of his subreddit when I released it, so that's a good sign. James, have you watched the show Ozark on Netflix? The opening money monologue by Jason Bateman reminded me of your presenting style. Haha. I've actually used Ozark scenes in my videos, but ironically, I've never watched it before. But damn, was that an amazing clip. It's a great example of a video that just gets me inspired and creative. The music, the narration, the suspense, the mystery, the script are just brilliant. You've got me fired up. Definitely check it out. It's put together so well. Your preview video on Instagram. Looking forward to July 5th. Topic is intriguing. Since I'm almost finished with everything for this next video, and it's been a fairly good day, I figured there's nothing better to do than to tune into my favorite community, and give you guys another update on things, and reflect on all that's happened. But I also realize, I dreamed of being an actor. I don't know where this dream initially started out. I think it might have to do with my mum taking me to theater classes on a Saturday when I was young to keep me busy with something. I also loved writing. I can vividly recall my mum getting me blank notebooks when I was younger before I even knew how to write properly, and I would just start scribbling lines, imagining what I would be writing about. When we got a computer for the family, I did the same thing on Word, just smashing away at the keyboard, not writing actual coherent sentences, just imagining the story that I was writing. But by the time I was 11 or 12, my dreams of being an actor went to the forefront of my mind. I think the catalyst for this was being complimented on my acting ability in drama class, and constant comments like "you should be an actor" that convinced me that I really be an actor, and that it shouldn't just be a dream. By the time I was 15, I was taking it far more seriously. I started considering what drama schools I would audition for. I started learning more about how the industry works, etc. etc. When I was 17, I failed that year to get into drama school, forcing me to take a gap year. I knew that it was a tough game. The UK has some of the best drama schools in the world, and those were the ones I was going for. It wasn't going to be easy. Thankfully, I was accepted into a gap year diploma course at a reputable drama school. This would be a 1-year course designed to help me get into drama school, whilst teaching me more about the craft. That summer holiday just before starting the course, I went on a trip with some friends to Portugal. I had around £400 cash, and £600 in my bank account. I came back to the UK with 0 cash, and 15p in my bank account, as well as a broken phone. I needed money. And just like that, a desire had sparked that I hadn't really thought about before, a desire to make money. When you want to be an actor, I guess you just accept you'll be broke, until you make it. But now I had lost all my savings in one holiday, and something needed to change. I started searching online for help, came across people like Gary Vee who convinced me to sell or flip items on eBay. I first started by selling items in my own room, video games, consoles, etc. Then once that was done, I went down to a car boot sale garage sales of the UK with a friend and went about looking for items that I could flip for a good profit. After 2 to 3 months of this, I had about £1,000 in my bank account. And suddenly I felt this weird feeling, something like freedom. I didn't have to ask my parents for travel money, I didn't have to ask them to buy me clothing items, or any item for that matter. I felt independent. I was hooked to this feeling. As I started my drama course and began progressing with it, I grew more and more interested in money, personal finance, and entrepreneurship. Then two things happened. I started listening to what I considered to be bad advice from fake gurus who would bombard my YouTube recommendations with dreams of financial freedom, working on the beach, being my own boss, etc. I started hating the concept of having a job. Make your money work for you, I would often regurgitate, as Kioski had told me. And I continued plowing through the typical personal finance books constantly recommended to me. Suddenly the desire to have money turned into desperation. My parents came to this country to give me huge opportunities. I needed to make money to give back to them all that they had given me. Then the second thing struck. I started to lose my passion for acting. Maybe it was the constant grind of non-stop rehearsing, or maybe the final straw was when I got into the final round of auditions for the drama school I had so desperately wanted to get into, only to be told thank you. That's all for now. After I was only just beginning to get into the scene for my monologues that I had to perform. Maybe it was realizing that I only got into this industry from a childhood dream, and validation from when I was a young teen, that I was only doing this for the fame, and egotistical reasons. Either way, a combination of these two things led me to desperately seeking the help from these gurus online. I couldn't afford their courses, so I pirated them, and it led me to wanting to create a social media marketing agency. I called up a good friend of mine asking if he wanted to start this venture with me together, and he agreed. We had dreams of making so much money from it. It'll be easy is what I had told myself. Just 10 clients paying us £1,000 a month means a 6-figure salary. Then I picked up a book that changed everything for me. This book had been recommended a few times now, and although I didn't like the title and thought it sounded super cheesy and scammy, I decided to make the purchase. I can still vividly recall being sat on a train where I was about to go and get my acting headshots done, and opening the first page and reading, then continuing to read, then realizing that I had stumbled upon a gem. I started realizing the faults in my thinking, and how my mindset surrounding money was so foolishly deluded. And I also felt angry at all the other personal finance books that never talked about something so simple as solving problems in a market, or that you are paid in proportion to your perceived value. Why didn't these business gurus tell me this? Why did they make me think business is about catching the next fad or trend? Of course, later in the book I realized that they were the ones selling the shovels. MJ's words helped me see that. Shortly after reading I went on to, and enjoyed it just as much. Around this time I had finally grown to accept that I had lost my passion for acting, and as my drama course concluded for the year, and I said goodbye to my actor friends, I went back to my friend who I had started this marketing business with and told him that we needed to take this seriously. Despite MJ's advice, I felt like I had to try. I knew that the premise for this business was built on a desire for money, not an attempt to solve anything. And yet I continued with the business because I had nothing else. We didn't get far, although we tried. We made cold calls, cold emails, set up meetings, but never landed a single paying client in the end. Only a free trial client that ended up ignoring us after we spent a month working on their socials. It was time to call it quits. He knew it. I knew it. And so we did. This was around October 2019. From there I swallowed my pride and got a job as a customer service assistant and at a call center. It felt good to be earning money again, and the jobs weren't that bad. I met some really nice people. Boy did I hate the idea of doing this for a living. At the same time, I felt a sense of freedom. Leaving the marketing business allowed me to start applying what MJ's books taught me and to start looking for an actual problem I could try to solve. I remember coming to this forum so many times and reading some incredible threads to keep myself motivated during this period. I remember printing out a thread on how the forum changed his life, and reading it during my lunch breaks feeling inspired and motivated as hell to do something with myself. One thing led to another and I found myself with the business idea for Quidemi, an online financial learning platform that taught financial related subjects in a clear, concise, and digestible way. As I started progressing with the idea, around November or December the idea of starting a YouTube channel popped into my head frequently. I wanted to build up my personal brand. I told myself, I wanted to also indirectly promote Quidemi, and I knew the entrepreneurship niche on YouTube was crowded with so much snake oil, bad or misleading advice, and genuine people. The problem, I guess I kinda understood how MJ must have felt seeing all the books about money or finance regurgitating the same slow lane dogma, and feeling as though I wanted to give my own genuine voice into the mix. My solution. And so, leading up to the creation of the channel, I started learning how to edit videos. After finishing a course on Udemy, I gathered the bare basics, and just figured I'll learn things as I go along. By the end of January I had started creating my first ever video, and was nervous as hell. All I could think about was what people were going to say behind my back. James is starting a YouTube channel. Ahahaha, good luck with that, etc. But I had to brush aside these thoughts and persevere. Once I uploaded it I breathed a sigh of relief. I had finally gotten the first bit of content out of the way. I was too scared to post the video to my socials at the time, for fear of what people would say. I chose not to. I only sent it to a few friends. And then they started to share the video on their own socials, and overall people were supportive contrary to my irrational fears of being mocked. The story from here on has already been recorded in this thread. I also had gotten a job as an estate agent after that first video was released. A job that I burnt out on within 2 weeks because I hated it so much. The people were fine, the job was fine, but I hated every working hour thinking I could spend this time working on Quidemi, or a YouTube video. My least favorite video on the channel is my Instagram video, just because of my mental state when filming it. I had come back from a day of work. It was late at night. I was feeling incredibly stressed, and yet I forced myself to make that video because I knew I couldn't make an excuse to delay it any longer. Then I quit the estate agency job. Lockdown happened. My focus turned to the channel and Quidemi, and shortly afterwards I dropped Quidemi and focused solely on the channel, realizing that it combined both my business side and my creative side together almost perfectly. Leaving us to the crazy events that transpired over the last month and a half, and just an overall realization of wow, there were so many seemingly unrelated events, hobbies, or failures that have brought me to where I am right now. Always loving to write. Practicing the craft of acting. Losing my money in Portugal. Going under the fake guru spell. Reading MJ's works. Getting rejected from drama school 2 years in a row. Even now, I wonder how things would have been if I had gotten into drama school. A reality that I think would not have been as great as the one I am living in right now. But without a doubt one of the biggest events was reading MJ's work and discovering this forum. The values and principles taught in those works were what led me to where I am right now. Not a single part of me doubts this. I'm so grateful for the incredible people on this forum that have helped keep me motivated with their threads and their own journeys. To add my own journey to this forum is an honor, and to have had one of my videos dedicated to MJ's works go viral is little in comparison to how much your work has impacted me, MJ. I am also grateful to the many people who came to the channel and felt like what I had to say was worth their time. The last few months have been some of the best months of my life. Not necessarily traveling around the world, living in a mansion, at a party, but sitting at my desk, in my room, during quarantine, editing these videos, and knowing that I have provided value into other people's lives, and that by first providing that value, I am now able to earn an amazing income from it. I have so much more planned, but I think that I will always cherish these memories and remember them to be the start of something incredible. And before I sign off this update, here are some of my personal goals that I've been writing down in my journal for the last few months and figured it was worth sharing. Become a millionaire by 25. Become semi-retired by 30. Retire my parents. Travel around the world. Buy my first house by 22. Own a Tesla by 25. Elmo, yeah, I'm a Tesla fanboy. Have to admit, have my business generate £100,000 or MNTH in the next 3 to 4 years. More on how I plan on doing this to come, teach or promote entrepreneurial values to children or teens in the form of some sort of charitable work. And with that, I'm off to bed. This post took me damn near 3 hours. I just checked out Quai Demi. Looks good. You're abandoning the idea altogether? This is my favorite thread. I always look forward to your updates. My goals are similar, except I'm older, have a rental property, and I'm not exactly a fan of Tesla. I still love the idea, and I think it has huge potential. So many generations of people complain that they wish they were taught the subjects of personal finance and money in general during school, and it's that sentiment or problem that led me to wanting to create Quai Demi. I would say it's more on a pause right now, but I don't have a plan to return to it at the moment, although who knows? I actually had to remove the site just now because there was a small security breach where someone was attempting to access the backend, which sucks. But yeah, it's not completely out of my mind, but definitely not my focus anymore. So happy to hear that, and thank you for tuning into the thread and the journey as a whole. It's my absolute pleasure. Here's to both of us achieving our goals sooner than we expect. Excellent post. Your goals seem very possible given the progress you are making. Great work, really just feels like the beginning of a great success story. Agree with what I love is how you're building on a lot of your skills and experience to create your high ground. You love writing, understand drama, and can act even as a voice actor, and can now research, script, produce, and edit videos. You've also been through the guru mill. You've a message you can pass on, and you've the chops to do it. By stacking your skills and experience on top of each other, you create a higher and higher high ground. This is instead of what a lot of people do when they flit from one idea to another and effectively start from ground zero each time, albeit with learnings and skills from each failure. So I'm not knocking flitting about till you find something that helps the market and grabs you. Great post, love your story, and congrats on the silver plaque. This thread is super inspiring and one of my favorites on the forum. Yeah, it's weird, I can recall this vividly as well. I was in the front seat of a double-decker bus, headed to the job hungover from the previous night, feeling disappointed with my life. The first few pages gripped me in and the rest of the book hit like a punch. In a way, it's like you can feel your brain changing and know that things are going to be different from that moment on. Since you didn't mention this in your future plans, just thought I'd say this seems like a very real possibility to me. If you still want to pursue it, you might be able to score a Netflix deal or something similar after a few more of your videos, and from there, it's just a matter of going all in the film world if that is what you still want. Money won't be an issue soon, and you'll have all the time in the world to perfect your skills in that direction. Silver plaque or golden globe, it's same thing, just a matter of which direction you choose, and once you've made enough money you can even utilize the power of F.U. I'll make my own film and star in it. You are one of the biggest breaths of fresh air to come around here in a long time, my friend. I have enjoyed reading your entire story. You will achieve your goals. Thank you for being transparent and sharing this amazing story with us. In a climate that has become fearful of personal branding, you're a perfect example of class, value, and contribution. Keep pressing. Looking forward to meeting you at the next Fastlane Summit. Please forgive my ignorance of this, but why has the climate become fearful of personal branding? I don't want to derail this thread, but we'll address that topic sometime in the next few weeks on a new thread. Thanks for keeping us in the know and helping me spread my message. I think there is one person on this planet as happy as you, and it's me. You are showing me that my content and my underlying message is resonating with the masses. While I knew that already, 'cause I've sold truckloads of books, To see it confirmed via video is awesome. As you become more famous and more valuable, I hope you continue to share with us your unfolding story, and dang, it is unfolding. You know, I was thinking about this, and then I saw a great interview with Logan Paul where I realized, YouTube is actually the best place to be. Everything is under my own brand on YouTube. I have full control over the content. There are no deadlines, no creative limits. It's all there for me. Going to Netflix would be more of an ego boost than anything, assuming if that ever happened. Although, I will say that in the distant future I would love to take the role as a screenwriter and make some stuff for Hollywood, or the West End. But that's when I've settled down a little more and can do all of this without having to worry about money. Vigilante. Thank you so much, man. That really means a lot of coming from you. I'm actually so excited to attend the Fastlane Summit. Ever since I heard about it, I wanted to go, but couldn't afford to. But man, am I pumped to go to the next one now. My pleasure, MJ. As I said, this forum provided a ton of value to me. Having my journey documented here is an honor. I have no intentions of stopping. Amazing post, mate. Love that you have retire your parents near the top. That too is my drive for all of this. Seeing my folks settled in the house of their dreams would make me happier than any Lambo would. On to 1 mil we go, my friend. Just curious, how much dollar do you guys think need to retire? And does Social Blade underestimate YouTube earnings in general? If so, by how much? Do you see him gaining speed for my channel, and I'm sure for many others? Yeah, the earnings displayed on Social Blade are incorrect. First off, I wanted to start by thanking you for introducing me to TMF. A few weeks ago I watched a video on fake gurus on YouTube, after which your video The Toxic World of Self-Help was recommended. After watching it I felt I had just watched a video about myself and something that I felt like I would never be able to share or discuss with others because they wouldn't understand. Because your video dealt with so many of the things I was facing, I knew that if you recommended a book it must be something special. I went to Amazon, purchased the book and finished it yesterday, joined the forum late last night and found your post today. I can't begin to tell you how much reading this book has done for me. Thank you and keep up the great work. Holly SHT. I clicked on this thread and it blew my mind that it was you. I found your content on YouTube a while back. I think I started watching the Fake Gurus one and subbed right there, so it was sort of mind-blowing realizing you were the op. It's also weird stumbling upon this thread, considering just this morning I was thinking about recording some content which I've never done before. I'm still figuring out the best way to set everything up and my business model, but I feel it's going to be hard to sleep tonight. Anyway, congrats on your journey, man. I remember subbing to you because your content felt fresh and honest, no clickbaiting or anything like that. I added you on LinkedIn. Congrats once again, very well done, sir. I'm so glad you found the channel, man. And I'm glad that my video on self-help resonated with you on that level. In hindsight, I was worried that recommending those 2 books at the end of the video may have made me seem like a hypocrite. But that's why I prefaced it by saying that these books were genuinely books that helped me out a lot. They didn't feed me motivation, and they weren't just trying to upsell me on some other product. I'm glad you picked up on that, and decided to get MJ's book. Trust me, I wouldn't have even started the channel if I hadn't read TMF. It is perhaps one of the countless amounts of self-help books I've read that I can truly say had a profound effect on my life, worldview, and goals. Also, welcome to the forum. Just like the books, this place is a gem too, and there are some amazing gold threads on here that will aid you in your journey. All the best. Ahaha, that's amazing to hear. Yeah, I guess my username on the forum makes it hard to know that this is James from YouTube. Fun fact, my username, Valier, is the surname of a fictional character from a fantasy book or series that I've attempted to write in the past. Best of luck with your own content. If you're going to be starting a YouTube channel, I highly recommend it. YouTube is still in its early phase, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger, that I can promise you. We'll add you on LinkedIn now as well. Hi, I'm a student from India in the last year of my college. I want to start my YouTube channel in the coding domain. I want it to be my personal brand so I could get freelance ankly. I thought that it would not work, but it's clear now that it was my bias and I am wrong. Well done, James. Enjoy reading your story, and luckily I watched your videos, hence I am here. I believe you really got YouTube algorithm by the balls. Your content is great and the videos are spot on. Success is in your side at the moment, but make sure you don't get carried away as landing from the top is very painful. Good luck on the premiere tonight though. Keep us updated and I hope to chat soon. Best wishes, Pete. Also please tell about how you learned storytelling. When I scripted this video and began the early stages of editing, I didn't have the 99% of the audience that I have right now. It was my initial plan that would be the video that could propel my channel forward. My intentions with this video was to target a few different markets: Tyler 1's fanbase, the Twitch community, and the League of Legends community. My ideal hopes were that if the video was good enough, it would be watched by other live streamers on their streams and it would expose the video and the channel to thousands of other people. Of course, I was ideally hoping that someone like Tyler 1 would react to it on stream himself. It was a risky video, but my thinking at the time was, hey, I don't have much of an audience built up, I'm fine to experiment and take some risks. That was the plan. But there are some clear faults with strategy, especially considering what happened to the channel I began creating this video. During the creation of this video, the channel had started to blow up. I went from someone with about 200 subscribers to over 250k by the time this video was wrapping up. Although it was amazing to see, there was a slight concern in the back of my mind. I initially started creating this Tyler 1 video with the idea that I didn't have a huge audience, and could make that gamble. Now I had a massive audience, a lot of momentum, and it probably wasn't the best time to be taking risks with my content. It would be best to ride the wave of that momentum. But after writing a 24-page script, and already sinking in hours of work on editing, I felt like I was already beyond the point of return, and so I sucked it up and said, alright, we'll have to take this risk and see where it gets us. Another flaw in the strategy here is fairly obvious from a marketing standpoint. Would anyone from those communities I was targeting even be interested in subjects related to business, money, finance, etc.? Probably not. Why I didn't emphasize this concern in my mind is beyond me. I think I was blinded by the idea of someone I've been a fan of Tyler 1 and a community that I had been fairly active in Twitch seeing my work, and enjoying it. In other words, I was thinking with passion and love, but not about the target market and the audience my other videos were collecting. Yes, if this video blew up I could have expanded my audience into a whole new market. But if they're only there for one video, what's the point? But once I had made that decision to continue with this video, and see how things go, I had to brush aside those thoughts and focus on creating the best video I could. I also wanted to test out using the premiere feature on YouTube. Once my audience grew, I figured it would be really amazing to turn this video's release into an actual event. I can hype it up, release a trailer as I did, and get people pumped up for it. So how did it go? Pretty good. Leading up to the video's release, I stayed in the chat room and interacted with my audience, answering questions, etc. And as the video was starting, I realized that another Twitch streamer was watching the video live on his own stream to an audience of about 3.8k, 4k viewers. Combined with the notifications sent out to my subscribers gave the video a consistent 1k viewers at the premiere throughout. Amazing. Overall the video seemed well received. The streamer who was watching it live on his own stream enjoyed it a lot, and I'm sure some of his viewers came onto the channel and subscribed plus liked the video afterwards. We totaled about 4k views on the actual video itself in the first hour of its release, and by the time I woke up today we were at about 13k views on the video. And as I write this the video currently stands at 20k views. There's a few things that can happen here. It's just a matter of whether the algorithm finds the right audience to target the video to. I think the video can definitely hit around 60 to 100k viewers in the next week or
However,
so. This has potential to go even bigger than that if the algorithm starts pushing the video out to Tyler's audience, which I'm hoping the metadata of the video will be able to help with. I am sure that the algorithm is pushing this video to my audience, and others who are similar to my audience. Although it could take a while for the algorithm to start testing it with Tyler 1's audience. But I believe once Tyler 1's audience start picking up on the video, and more people from that community grow aware of the video, the algorithm will adjust and it will begin to be promoted across to that audience, which I'm sure it will do well with. Of course, if Tyler 1 himself actually reacts to the video, that will be an immense boost. But all I can do for now is play the waiting game with this video and just focus on the next project. The algorithm took 3 months after its release to start pushing my fake guru video to the right audience, so who knows? Some other YouTuber friends that I've made recently have had their own videos start getting pushed by the algorithm 5 days later. It really is just a matter of letting the algorithm do its thing, and hopefully it adjusts and starts targeting the best audience for this video. If not, then the video will sit comfortably at roughly 60 to 100k views. I definitely don't regret making this video. Not at all. I learned so much during the creation of this video, and all of these skills are going to translate through into my other videos. However, would I have created this video if I had the audience I have right now? Definitely not, but that's okay. I have to remind myself that I only have 8 videos worth of experience on YouTube. Mistakes are bound to be made. And besides, we still haven't got enough data points on this new video to really determine whether it is successful or not. Based on the comments and likes, my core audience has enjoyed it for the most part, even those with no interest in gaming or Tyler 1, which is something I'm quite proud about. I think it's proven to myself that I'm able to take something or someone fairly niche and be able to present that topic or person in a way that others who have never heard about it can enjoy. That's a really great achievement in my eye. Also, in terms of watch time and average view duration, this video has done very well, which I expected due to its insane length. It's currently got an average view duration of 1344. That's more than any of my other videos, which gives me hope that the algorithm is going to keep pushing this thing out and will land on the right audience at some point in the next few days or weeks. Now, it's time to rest my brain and imagination for 2 or 3 days and recuperate from this project, and then we're straight on to the next one. This next one is something I'm pretty hyped about, since I know my core audience has been asking for a video on it, and it's a fairly huge subject or industry with quite a lot of controversy. I'll give you a hint. It starts with an M and ends with a marketing. There's also a lot more I want to tell you all regarding my plans for the Patreon page, and the longer term vision for the channel. Boy, is it exciting. And just to end with a bang, my paycheck for the month of June came up to an insane more than double last month. What the F? But again, the majority of that is going right back into the business. Nothing to do with me personally. So here's my answers to your questions. I didn't know for sure. During the first few posts on this thread before the channel blew up, you'll see that I spent a lot of time studying the algorithm whilst putting it into practice with my own videos. Now, I knew that if I continued I could definitely gain a strong audience over time, as long as the content never stopped improving in quality, which is something I make sure to do each time. I wanted the quality of the content to keep people hooked till the end watch time, and I wanted that to spark a binge watch of the channel, more watch time. But looking back, I also see how important the topic of the content has played a huge role in my success so far. This is something I'm going to again be talking about a lot more soon. It's a little too much to put in one answer here. I can't give you much advice on communicating in English, since that's my first language, although I can imagine that starting a YouTube channel is going to help you greatly. As for camera and mix skills, if you mean your ability to narrate or be on camera, then my best advice is the following: practice, practice, practice. The fear with my YouTube channel is that it may send signals out to everyone that you have to start off a perfect, but that's very damaging and far from the truth. I think my first video is terrible. The editing is but my energy is incredibly low on camera. I don't talk loud enough. It's far too long and here's a lot of fluff that could have been cut. I still uploaded it because I knew I just had to start. And from there on I made adjustments and worked on things that I knew I wasn't too good at. In that same regard, you just have to work on being on camera, and work on your narrating, and continue to adjust. Here are 2 practical exercises: 1 for narrating. Go grab a book or story or article online and record yourself reading some of it. Do the best you can with your voice to make the narration interesting or exciting. Once you've recorded yourself, play it back and take notes on what you think is good or bad. It may be worth sending this to friends that you trust will give an honest opinion as well. Once you have that feedback, do another recording the next day in an attempt to improve upon what you've been told. Then make notes on that new recording, and repeat doing this every day is bound to help you. Just like learning any new skill. Also, go and study up on narration and voice acting to see what professionals do and how you can adapt that into your work. 2 for being on camera. At the end or beginning of your day, record a 10-minute video on camera, talking about what you did that day, or what your plans are for the rest of the day. Don't stop, even if you stutter or get too nervous. Just keep recording this every day, and I can promise you'll begin to get more and more comfortable being on camera. This one is tough because I never really learned storytelling. It was just something I'd done through my writing and acting since I was a kid. Also, being an avid reader of fiction throughout my childhood to teenage years definitely helped. Also, there's still a lot that I have to learn. I think I've got a talent for it. But the problem with talent is that it's not structured, and so I'll have to put my answer on pause here because I don't have any more value to offer until I actually start studying storytelling myself and am able to pinpoint real practical advice to give you. Hope that helps. Hi James, I watched the premiere and well done for the effort. Your skills have improved a lot. I got 2 boys, 12 and 14, both play games Fortnite, Valorant, CSGO Etsy. Join them sometimes playing Valorant and they are constantly on Twitch as well as streaming. I think your audience is really towards business, money etc. as your voice demands attention, demands understanding, respect and focus. Twitch is more of an entertainment platform than anything serious. We have visited the first TwitchCon and it was magical, but the audience there needs to be entertained rather than keeping them focused and giving them facts. My kids watch only silly videos which require no attention. They are short, but plenty. Look at TikTok. This will give you a clue, but your niche looks like documentaries, serious matters. This is at least my 2. Best wishes, Pete. This guy is insane. Sets a goal for like 1,000 subs, smashes 200k. I just turned 21 and I am absolutely terrified of life and ashamed for not being anywhere yet, but just looking at this post made me feel great and I don't know if that is a good or bad thing. I finished like yesterday and applied to Fox's course today and I'm so scared yet optimistic right now. I'm so happy for you though James, really you deserve all the success in the world. Likeable guy and good content. Your video on gurus was my favorite one and the Tyler 1 vid looks super hype. I think you're gonna make millions one day and people will be willing to pay you for brand knowledge and such. Edit. The Tyler 1 vid is the best vid I've seen on YouTube hands down. One of the most captivating docs I've ever seen and easily the best video on branding ever made. I think the big takeaway for me, and anyone else following this thread, is the level of effort you put in to create your videos. YouTube is a crowded, competitive, and somewhat established marketplace. To cut through the noise, you need to be deliberate on what you put out and put in levels of effort that others are not willing to. Regardless if your Tyler 1 video succeeds as much as you might want, 45 minutes long, 24-page script is insane, especially with your editing quality. Much respect. Congrats on the newest video and earnings. When I read your June paycheck, I was thinking, yay. I'm so ready to just ditch medicine and start a YouTube channel. Lol. Joking. Sort of. Hey, I just read through the entire thread and feel like I have been struck by a lightning bolt of inspiration worth 10,000 volts of motivation. Congratulations, it's super impressive what you have accomplished. The growth is insane, and I can only imagine the feelings you experience. Please tell me, Do you wake up and feel differently now than you did before your YouTube took off? I was on the fence with regards to starting a YouTube for my own new project, but your thread and process have convinced me. Genuine thanks for sharing your journey and inspiring me. Wish you the best. I haven't watched it because I view the material as different from just some standard video. It's not something I watch on my phone or sit at my desk to watch. It's more like I airplay it to my big screen, sit on the couch, and grab a bag of popcorn. There's a video of his reaction on YouTube, but he enjoyed it thoroughly. In fact, I don't recall seeing him enjoy any other video about him more so than that one, which was incredible to see. Mission accomplished. That also gave us a spike in viewers for the video, so we'll see if it's enough to get the algorithm to start pushing it to the right audience. Either way, I've been doing more research and have got big takeaways for the future content of the channel. Namely, the importance of the subject or topic covered in the video. Now, I have the quality of the content sorted, as long as it's a topic that I'm somewhat interested in, and has some good meat and bones to it. Then I can whisk up a great doc on it. The only thing that will cement that into a highly viewed piece of content now is the subject itself. Whilst I'm still going to be improving the quality of my videos with each upload, I'm also going to be taking a very big analytical role with studying what subjects to cover next. There are a few ways I'm going to be gathering more data points that'll help me decide what sort of content to explore next, but more on this to come. I'm so glad you found inspiration from this thread, my friend. That's really amazing to hear in terms of waking up differently. It's a weird one. For the most part, all my surroundings are the same. Same room, same bed, same parents, etc. etc. But then all it takes is one thought to remind me that there are over 250,000 people who have watched my content and thought it was worth subscribing to. And that I'm making a six-figure salary at the age of 20, and that I may be on track to achieving every goal that I've set out to accomplish, and then my heart skips a beat and I enter surreal mode and things feel so incredible and strange at the same time. One thing's for sure though, I'm always pumped to wake up, and I'm incredibly excited for the future and wherever this journey takes me. Hope that answers your question. Hey man. Thank you so much for the high praise. Glad the post could give you a little extra push and motivation. Also wish you the best on your own journey. Completely agree, Pete. Learned my lesson here. Hey, thanks for the quick and detailed response. Yes, you certainly answered my question. Hit the nail right on the head. I'm glad you appear to be feeling good, man. At least that's how I interpret your answer. Lol. Enjoy burning rubber on the fast lane. Please on YouTube or with other jobs. YouTube. Had the chance Monday to interview James. Was a really cool talk. He had a ton of great advice on his approach, mindset, and fast lane principles. Thanks again, James, for this. I think you will really enjoy this. The forums and the books got mentioned quite a few times. So cool watching forum members interview other forum members. Ahaha. Also note the clever way titled the video here. Makes it sound so much more exclusive and special. James the First, just want to thank you because if it wasn't for you or your YouTube channel I would have never began to read. I recently just turned 20. Said Scree College, been working on and off while trying to find my shtick. Keep doing what you're doing and I'm glad I'm on this forum with the likes of you and others to bounce ideas off, share with and be pushed by. Didn't notice this thread until now. It's so crazy to see one of our members blowing up. Keep up the good work, James. One question though. Do you have other plans other than YouTube? It is from your video, I picked up book. Awesome work. At the moment my primary focus is on the YouTube channel. Whilst I have a lot of plans on how to expand out, I'm making sure that I focus on one thing at a time. Saw you recommend in your videos and started reading them shortly after, but wasn't expecting to find you here in the forums. Congrats on the results of your hard work and I'm glad people are enjoying it. As a YouTube cracky that's trying to wean myself off the addictive side of the platform and stick to what's providing actual value in my life, this thread is gold. Being able to recognize the red flags, thumbnails, titles, video length that will make me click on some video and being able to question those before I watch something has been really helpful. I have watched your videos. You're an impressive communicator with solid points. I think you have a bright future
Good job
ahead on your YouTube project. Really interesting to read about your progress. And I'm learning valuable stuff about content creation. Hey, it is clear in this thread your approach is working and is how growing channels need to be thinking. If you already had a channel with a weekly or daily content approach, how do you think you might switch over to this approach? Take a break and then relaunch. Just start rolling out the new approach and see how it goes. New channel or unlist past videos. I am very tempted to dramatically switch how I have been making or releasing content and wanted to see what your thoughts might be. Thanks. I guess there's no best answer to this question, but I wouldn't unlist past videos for now. Maybe after you've built up more of a catalog of your newer content. If I was in your position, I would probably just start rolling out the new approach and see how your audience reacts to it. With that being said, a channel with weekly or daily uploads isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just a matter of the content being engaging and worth watching. That normally means more time spent between uploads. Lol. I was just reading this thread again from the very beginning and this caught my eye. If we look at current status, we can see overkill. Also, worth noting, this didn't happen in a week. He didn't post his first video and gave up after 2 weeks. This was a 6-month overnight success. Congratulations. Great work. Currently writing this whilst on a mini vacation, but I had the latest video drop yesterday which I'd been working like crazy to get finished. Happy to finally have it up. YouTube seems to be a roller coaster when it comes to growth for the most part. There are moments of insane growth, and moments of stagnated growth. I remember watching video when starting my channel, and everything he talks about still holds true, having now grown my channel so much over the last few months. When 3 of my videos started getting pushed by the algorithm, we had hit an incredible momentum whereby the channel went from 200 or so subscribers to 250k plus. These momentums usually hit when a video is pushed by the algorithm. And in order to keep the momentum going, you must continue to release videos that do incredibly well. It can be tough to keep the momentum going for prolonged periods of time, but if you have a great understanding of what works with your audience and what would work with the YouTube algorithm, you can ride the wave of that momentum out for potentially years. Mr. Beast is a YouTube channel that has been riding a momentum for years, with videos that never seem to drop below 10m views, and this has benefited him greatly as one of the fastest growing channels on the platform. With that being said, when you break the momentum by releasing a video that doesn't perform as well, your momentum breaks, and you have to rebuild it by once more creating videos that do well in comparison with other videos. I've been riding out a momentum over the last few months thanks to those 3 videos being pushed simultaneously by YouTube's algorithm, although this momentum was recently broken with the release of my Tyler 1 video, which didn't perform nearly as well as the other videos. This is of course a small setback, and I'm not too annoyed or disappointed by this fact. On the contrary, it's given me a lot to learn about with regards to the importance of picking the right subject and content for your channel. As mentioned earlier in the thread, the Tyler 1 video was far too different, and unlike any of the other videos that I had already built an audience around. First mistake. It was also a very niche topic, without as much interest around the subject as my other videos. Second mistake. I had also foolishly assumed that it would bring in a new audience to the channel, but didn't consider that that audience would most likely not be interested in the majority of the content on my channel. Third mistake. The video also took me 3 months to upload, meaning the momentum I had built had nothing more to go on except the 3 videos that were already being combined. Pushed. These mistakes caused a break in momentum for the channel. With that being said, it's time to rebuild that momentum once more. To do that, we need content that we can expect will do well with the algorithm. I trust in my ability to create good content on a subject, arguably the hardest part. The important thing now is picking the right subject and advertising it through the thumbnail and title in a way that allows for a really good click-through rate. I've run a survey out to my subscribers through a community post last month, as well as taken a look at the data from past videos, and from what I gathered, people really like content that's either about money, or some form of exposing the truth. I.e. toxic world of self-help, rise of fake gurus, etc. It's these topics that my future videos will be centered around for now, but it goes without saying that I want to make sure any videos I make, especially ones about money, are providing actual value and not just fluffy advice or temporary motivation. This is really important. This recent MLM video is a step back to the content that I believed as well on my channel. It's also a video I've been wanting to make for a long while now, and it's been requested by many. I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on how this video does center-wise, and if I see that it's not performing as well as I expect it to, I will make changes to the thumbnail and the title to try and improve things because of the way the algorithm works. I can't know for sure until we give it perhaps a week to determine how well this video has done. Even then, sometimes the algorithm can take longer to pick up a video, but the center and watch time should give me a good indication of whether it's going to be picked up by the algorithm. As a subject, I think MLMs were a great choice. A controversial subject, with a lot of talk around them. Now let's see how well the title and thumbnail do. Great content really. I'm amazed how few haters you get in the comments. That's incredible, especially with the topics of your videos. Or is it yet another YouTube algorithm only showing the better comments? What's on your mind for your next video? Have you thought about crypto? Even though you mentioned several times that you were lucky the algorithm pushed several of your videos, considering the amount of work you put into each of your videos and your level of talent, this is all well deserved. Keep up the momentum going, mate. Ahaha. Well, I guess it depends on if you sort the comments by top or newest first. For the most part, my audience are extremely kind to me, but there are definitely some hate comments here and there, which is to be expected when a 20-year-old is trying to teach you about money, or calling the self-help industry toxic. Haha. Unless it's legitimate criticism about the content itself, I don't give it much attention. It's definitely going to be money related, but I'm still sorting through a few ideas and hashing out what aspect of money or economics I want this video to cover. I definitely want to do a crypto-related video in the future. I've been wanting to do a documentary on one of the cryptocurrency Ponzi schemes that have appeared in recent years, BitConnect, Onicoin, etc., and how they utilized influencers to generate hype that ultimately led thousands to lose large amounts of money. I figured I could also cover a little on what cryptocurrency is and how it came to be in that video. Ahaha, I really appreciate that. I knew that I had some good content under my belt, but I was lucky in the sense that I had 3 videos that were timed and executed well enough to blow up like they did. I think if I continued it would have happened at some point. It was just the speed at which it happened that was really lucky. Great work. I've been a sub since past few months and one of the few channels I've hit the bell icon. My friend and I were raving about the content, didn't know you were in the forum. Your self-help video caught my attention. Again, many congratulations. Social proof below, thought this might cheer you up. I was wondering when I would see one of your posts on here. I watched a video of yours on YouTube and wandered to your website. I found books from there and read them in a couple of weeks. Thank you eternally for pursuing your dreams and showing others the possibilities of living in life. Will definitely be following. All the best and God bless. Another idea, but you'd have to get it out a month before the US elections, how the people in the UK view Trump or Biden or something along that vein. Not quite about money, except how it might impact people in the UK if either one wins. Or you could do too, deep dive into Donald Trump and how he went from reality TV billionaire to US president. Deep dive into Joe Biden and what he has or hasn't done in the 47 years he's been in office. Depending on the spin you want to put on it. I've considered doing these myself, but every time I think about having to research any politician I throw up a little. So I decided to stay away. Political content is touchy on YouTube. If its own algos don't restrict your video because of keywords, you will get reported from people who are upset from your vids depending on your take or spin. You can get great success doing political content, but it's a minefield. Politics is definitely something I'd like to steer away from for the most part on my channel. Regardless of which side you lean, it always seems to divide people. Although I do think I could do either of those video ideas or both of them in a non-opinionated, matter-of-fact sort of way. I think I'd just rather opt out of doing a political video for the time being. If you are an insider, be sure to attend the insider-only call tomorrow Saturday with details just posted on the inside. I honestly don't see it as that different. The topic of Tyler 1 may be niche, but the topic of transforming a personal brand seems to fit right into the business or entrepreneur or money stuff you've done previously, at least to me. Also, I don't care that I hadn't heard of Tyler 1. I think a lot of documentary fans are used to watching docs where the exact subject is previously unknown to them. It's more about the stories that be drawn out of them. Netflix aren't currently pushing me a documentary on really fast Rubik's Cubers because they think I'm one of millions upon millions of Rubik's Cube fans who are going to race to see their favorite speed cubers on screen. To me, your trailer demonstrated there was something applicable to my interest in business to be learned from Tyler 1's story. And I did indeed learn. I also wonder if any loss in initial rush of numbers is to do with the length. Whereas some of your videos I've clicked straight into from the link, this one instead I added to my mental watch list for later. Like MJ, it was switched in my mind from a quick YouTube video to something I'd watch during a time when I would normally settle down to watch a Netflix documentary, so it took me a moment to get around to. To be fair, your YouTube probably has more people there for the exact subjects you're covering than their general love of documentaries. I just happen to be both, dear. Thank you for sharing your YouTube journey with us. You have a unique talent, you are a great documentary filmmaker, and your skill is truly out of the ordinary. In addition, you also demonstrate in the way you treat the themes you have chosen, and this aspect is not at all obvious given that you are only 19 years old, chap. As for the algorithm, in my opinion you don't have to worry too much. You have shown a lot in these months and you have a fantastic fan base. Anyway, I want to make two considerations about your proceeding. Number 1, I believe that the common thread that unites your 3 most successful videos is 2. I believe you need to focus your channel on this angle. Here are the 3 myths you debunked. As I progress through this Guru's upselling program, I will become rich. With the next book or seminar I will get enlightened or become realized or become peaceful, etc. To get rich I have to get a good job and work hard. Number 2, as for a future paid course, in my opinion, in addition to a course on growth on YouTube, you should develop an elaborate course. That's what you are. And after viewing your videos, I imagine the perceived value of this course is no less than $2,000. The course program could contain all aspects from zero to hero, research, scripting, filming, how-tos, etc. and finally also a chapter on SEO with a particular focus on YouTube. Here you could refer to the other course entirely dedicated on YouTube growth. I've been watching videos on it for quite a few years now, and I really don't remember seeing videos that match your quality. Congratulations again and continue with your work. P.S. At the end of June I opened a YouTube channel on songwriting tips and techniques. It was something I've wanted to do for years, and I would be super happy if I only could get even 1/10 of your success. Thanks for these suggestions and the kind words, friend. This is something that I've come to realize as well, and I think it may be the best direction for the channel too. This is a great idea. Although I wouldn't consider myself a documentary filmmaker per se, or at least nowhere near a qualified one, I think my knowledge and skills translate into being able to teach video editing, storytelling, narration, etc., which can all be combined into a single course. Although I wouldn't ever price it at anything in the thousands. In my opinion that seems excessive, and is another reason for why I dislike fake gurus, because charging thousands for an info product when plenty of information can be accessed online for cheaper doesn't feel right for me. I've always seen the benefit of a course as being organized information coming from one source that has done the research and has the skills to condense and deliver that knowledge in a single package. To me that could be worth hundreds, but steering in the thousands range wouldn't make me comfortable. I just read the entire thread from page 1 to page 10, your journey is mind-blowing. Your videos, The Truth About Money and The Rise of Fake Gurus severally appeared to me as recommended, but it took me a couple of days to click on one. The day I did click on the truth about money video, I watched every single video that was on your channel. At that time of watching your videos you were of a few thousands of subs. I saw your channel blow up with subs in just a few days. I saw this happen because I rewatched your videos times landing on this thread here and realizing that your initial set goal was 1,000 subs by 2021, but you surpassed it more 370 times is extremely mind-blowing. Your journey here is extremely fascinating and inspiring. Thank you for being an inspiration to many here. Keep up the great things. Cheers to an incredible journey. Keep moving. Any issues with copyrighted content so far? I made a video showing some of The Wolf of Wall Street and it got flagged for using content from the film. It is just a few parts, only around 4 to 5 seconds each. I can dispute it, but it requires you clicking a box that says your whole channel can be removed, possibly if the dispute is incorrect from my side. Any thoughts or experience with this? It is quite annoying since it just took off and was getting over 10,000 views a month. I don't know how these movie review channels get away with it. Maybe they get direct permission? Still no issues with copyright so far, although I'm steering away from using movie scenes in future videos. It may be helpful if you send me a link to the video so I can gather more context on how it was used. From what you've described, it seems like fair use to me. YouTube's algorithm has most likely detected the scene because there has been zero alterations to the audio and video, and consequently flagged it since it cannot tell whether it was done in fair use or not. It might not work in your region. ATM. You think this personally would? I really don't think YouTube will take down your channel if you're not given the benefit of the doubt. Unfortunately, I can't see the video myself, but it may be worth having a look online to double check that it comply with fair use laws. Congrats on your success. Maybe you're not using anymore, but just for your information, I saw is not loading. You could teach how people can get your same results with the same means you have, or had when you started. I understand that being behind a camera and being the director is something different, and BTW if you'd learn that too. Well, you could make James. You have it, man. Keep it on. P.S. And if, by the time you become a real director, you need songs or soundtracks, keep me in mind. Hey James. You're doing amazing, man. Keep it up. I've been watching your videos for a few months now and just wanted to ask, where did you get these movie clips from? Is there a specific site you used that provides them, and how was the editing process for them like? Did you have to listen to your script then add the scenes one at a time, or what exactly? Been wanting to do the same myself for quite a long time and I'm starting to take action on it now. Thanks in advance. Glad you've been enjoying them. Kaled. When it comes to movie clips, I've primarily just been downloading scenes from YouTube. You just want to make sure you're getting a HQ version of those scenes. When it comes to the actual editing process, I always write the script, film, and then read through the script and annotate what sort of scene I'm going for with certain lines. For example, I might look at one sentence in the script and note beside it celebration scene, which then leads me to using a scene from The Wolf of Wall Street. With that being said though, I'm steering away from movie scenes and more into animations or creating my own visuals just because that's more creatively fulfilling to me at the moment. Hey Valia, I would definitely be interested into a paid course for scripting your videos and the process of telling stories, something that I think has not been fully explored. For example, Graham Stefan talks about SEO and making videos for a 5th grade audience but does not go into detail in his course. I think that's one of your main strengths. Well done, James. This was my favorite video so far. The quality, content, editing, music, effects, storytelling were all insane. Super inspiring. Very nice as always. Top production quality. Would you like to discuss the hyperbolic discounting problem? It's multifaceted with a lot of gray area and it may be worthy of a video on its own. Not to mention the many ways in which hyperbolic discounting can be leveraged to your benefit. Glad you enjoyed it. I was honestly worried that people might not like this video, so it's quite a relief to see the good feedback it's received so far. Appreciate it. My friend would love to get your thoughts. I think cognitive biases are a great thing to be informed on, and I'm aiming to include more references to them in my videos, especially for the more investigative videos. Also planning on making an update post at some point, but I'm quite inundated with things to do ATM. One of which includes finding a video editor for the channel. Guys like Gary V suggest quantity, and Imho I have seen guys like you and others do well with scarcity. Like I even unsubscribed Gary because his videos are same and too repetitive. What is the balance point? So here is what I'm thinking. Faster or sooner reward versus later greater reward. This concept is pretty clear. We tend to accept the sooner or faster reward over the later one because of the bias. Makes sense from an evolutionary standpoint. Doesn't make much sense when you factor in patience. However, intelligence is left out in both considerations. We are not static beings. We have the power to influence events through actions. Consider the reward, no matter when received, as a tool. Well, what can you use it for? Is the reward a break, entertainment, food, useless gadget? The time interval matters when it comes to the reward. A sooner reward, properly used, is better than a later reward which you get to use at a later stage if at all. I think combinations between rewards and goals should be utilized. A few examples of this concept: 1. Sweet stuff pre-workout. Just make sure that it's protein-rich and tasty. 2. Morning coffee ritual. Stress yourself with some toxins for an easy time waking up and getting into the day. We all know that caffeine is a toxin. Doesn't mean that it doesn't feel like a reward though. 3. Want a gadget? New camera, work tools, GPS, what have you? Great, find a need and a way to get paid for it, reward yourself with it. Go fulfill the need and then you have the gadget left over. That's how I got a nice Canon camera for doing a photo shoot. Amateur, but I got some PS skills which saved me of handmade stuff, bracelets, earrings, hand creams, etc. My point is that some rewards are better taken sooner and then turned to your benefit. Saw the last video. Man. Better and better. Keep it on, James. Do you find the video clips and b-roll before you start shooting? Do you add them part of the script? Or do you just add b-roll and video clips in post while editing? I think common sense it's key here. If you have nothing to say, it's better to wait, do more research, etc. Juicy contents are more important than a useless consistency. Well, it's been a little while and 2 videos since the last update, for which I apologize for, but things have been super busy as of recently. Thankfully, with the release of my last video, I'm able to take a step back for a Christmas break and reflect on everything that has happened this year with the channel, and what a wild ride it's been, as well as a rundown on the finances of the channel, which I'm sure you're all super interested in finding out. But first, which I guess brings us to the first thing I wanted to talk about: my goals when I started this thread. Here's what I posted on the 31st of January, 4 days after posting my first video to the channel. I think we can safely say we've ticked off that 1K milestone. But I think that's an important thing to note. My fear is that someone might look at how quickly things have progressed over the second half of this year for my channel and think that this is how they should approach something like YouTube. Please don't. This is a long-term game which 100% requires consistency and the willingness to accept you may not make any strides during your first 1 to 2 years doing this. The same thing applies to any sort of venture. Another point: the overarching goal remains the same, but the vision for how I'm getting there has shifted entirely. I began this channel initially thinking it would act as a way to indirectly promote Quiademy, the online financial education platform I created just at the end of 2019, but the channel swiftly turned into my main hustle after about 5 videos in, and Quiademy was abandoned for the most part. I also never realized just how important my creative background would be to achieving what I have at the moment. I mistakenly had separated my creative side and entrepreneurial side when first getting into all of this, and that was very silly. I realize now, which brings us to, let me make it clear that this still blows my mind. I started this year off working briefly as an estate agent with a base salary between £11 to 15k. So to see where we've ended up is just insane to me. It reminds me just how important it is to 1. Find something with huge scale or magnitude. And 2. Separate yourself from the hours worked equals money earned equation as soon as possible. So here is the rundown as of the 23rd December, pound 114, 900 pound 6, 300 Skillshare £720 Amazon links in description for gear used, books read, and others pound 2, 500 pound 124, 420. This is all revenue. Of course. Granted, my overheads are incredibly low, and most of my spending is done for the sake of write-offs. But there we have it. Calling it surreal is an understatement. I get moments of imposter syndrome as well, because this has come about in a fairly short period of time from when the channel began. I almost feel as though I don't deserve it. But in many ways, this makes me want to work harder to shift those thoughts into of course I deserve it. In many ways, this money hasn't changed much. I still live with my parents, and I've decided I'm going to be staying here for 1 to 2 years longer because I still have that excuse at my age and it saves a ton of money in many other ways. However, this money relieves a lot of stress, whether it's just a matter of needing to replace a broken piece of equipment, or paying for a subscription service needed to find stock footage or templates. I no longer have to really feel the burden of the price tag. That feeling is incredible. I've always been frugal, and my expenses haven't really changed at all from what they were at the beginning of the year, but it's the security of having that money coming in that is really what gets to me. With all this being said, this next year is going to be an even bigger one with lots of developments for the channel, and overall business. I'm in a bit of a debate when it comes to hiring a video editor for the main channel. At the moment, I think I'm going to be the sole editor of the main channel, but will have my Patreon videos outsourced. I've started getting much faster at editing videos, especially with this recent video which at a length of 27 minutes I managed to get done inside a month. This may be subject to change. It just depends on how the search for an editor goes. I've recently sent out a few applications and currently looking over the applicants. But it's also important that I continue improving as an editor because, and I want this course to deliver in value. Taking someone from the basics of video editing on Premiere and After Effects, to being able to create in-depth visuals and motion graphics for anything that they want. I know the market for this course is huge right now, with constant comments and DMs asking how I edit, or whether I'm going to drop on a course on it. And I think I'm near the level where I can truly deliver on something. Still deciding what to price it as. I'm thinking $250 to start with. I don't want to exceed anything in the thousands because I couldn't possibly justify that price, especially given my criticisms of other business gurus charging insane amounts of money for their courses along with unethical marketing. It would just seem really off-brand for me to do so. I'm also going to continue developing and building my Patreon up, as it's really starting to kick off now that I've begun doing monthly editing tutorials, which is helping me build my confidence to teach this stuff as well as giving me bonus content to include in the full course. By the end of the year I'm hoping to get my Patreon to a solid £5,000 or month mark. It may be tough, but I'm sure that we can hit it. In terms of earnings, I'm going to be pushing for the £250,000 in revenue if we can get an editing course out, and maintain the current growth of the channel. This goal should be very reachable. Time will tell. And of course, and it's what I will continue to be getting better at, turning these videos into a real experience for people. In essence, that pretty much wraps it up for this year, and what a year it's been, for so many reasons. At this point, I have no clue what the future might hold because God or whoever knows that this was not how I anticipated this year to have ended. But I have no complaints. I'm still blessed with young age, and a ton of energy, and I intend to make use of both. Oh, and I'm going to be completely renovating my room over the Christmas holidays, turning it into an actual studio or office space. So keep an eye out for that. Thank you all who have followed this thread, and I really hope you've gained some sort of value, or inspiration from it. If so, then my job with this thread has been done. Till the next time. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Holy! Your revenue is more than what I earned at my last job. Thankfully, I've upgraded to this one. Lol. Congrats. For those not familiar with GPB, that's around 170,000 US. You still live with the P's. What have your parents said about your venture? Are you earning more than them? Well done, James. Thanks for sharing your journey with us. I'm also interested in how your parents have reacted. Yeah? They've been over the moon about it. Initially my mother didn't even know you could make any money from YouTube, and thought people just uploaded videos for fun. It's definitely been a pleasant surprise for her. My parents are both immigrants that fled from their country during a civil war and had to sacrifice a lot when coming to the UK, including working insanely hard to raise me. Being able to finally show them that their sacrifices are starting to pay off is another amazing feeling that's come about from all of this. Amazing, James. You couldn't be a more humble guy about it too. Next year will be even bigger, I'm sure. Well done on all your progress this year. Wow, very heartwarming. They must be so proud of you, and you, proud of them as well. You have completely changed the way I look at running a YouTube channel and what is actually possible if you're committed. Never before have I seen a YouTuber who has been able to do what you have done over the past few months. I have heard about Mr. Beast, but he doesn't do documentaries. As a YouTuber, I can't even imagine the amount of effort you have put into creating videos such as the rise of fake gurus and the untold truth about money. You said you use the Pomodoro technique. If so, can you share the total number of hours you have spent on making videos, building and running your channel? I guess it's more than 2,000 hours. If we compared YouTube to Hollywood, you would be the Steven Spielberg who doesn't do any crappy stuff and takes years to make one movie and gets a worldwide attention immediately. Your channel is the reason why I read and it's the reason why I have big hopes for the future. I own a small YouTube channel and I was going to give up on it, but now I know what to do. I'm gonna focus on center and weight. But I wanna get your opinion on something. Do you think I should start a new channel in the business niche? My channel is about language learning and the pay is devastatingly low, $1 or $2 per 1,000 views. And could you please tell me what Udemy courses you took to master your skills? I looked at Twitter page and everywhere in this forum, but I was unable to find the answer to this. James. Thank you for putting in all the hard work and making the impossible possible for us. James Janney. Love your videos, man. Those are few of the best videos I have watched in YouTube. Love your channel and what you are doing, man. But I always wonder, how do you edit that good, man? What software do you use to edit videos? Congratulations to your outstanding success. I hope you don't mind if I put your most important findings into a shortlist. They take more attention primarily on the thumbnail, secondly on the title. At the end they decide if the content is relevant for them. B. The number of subscribers doesn't matter anymore. More important is point 2 above and point C below. C. YouTube will support your content through video suggestions more easily if you put more time into quality instead of quantity. D. YouTube will split test your videos against similar videos to a small audience. The winner of the both will compete to another similar winning videos to a bigger audience. The winner takes it all. E. The number of uploads doesn't play a bigger role than the quality of each video. F. Create watchable content which is connected with the previous video to increase the viewer's engagement. Is there any other point you find important to mention? It would be great if we could have a short list of quality features. Thanks. Hi James, it is so incredible to see your journey unfold over this last year. I think you are very deserving of your success. Your parents probably woke up the next morning after you told them and first thing asked themselves, did we dream our son making more than us already at 21? I just watched your most popular video. It was great. Your narration is super easy on the ears. The clips you've chosen are very fitting, and the music, especially the soundtrack in part 2, is super atmospheric and makes the video a pleasure to watch. I am just getting started making videos, as I have recently finished my second course on Skillshare. Yeah, I've seen your promotional links as well and have a very small channel to share free content related to it, so I know very well how much time and effort you put into creating this, and I think it is just awesome how well polished your content is. A thing I just noticed, you seem to present some ideas from MJ in cinematographic format in this video I watched. And of course you are also mentioning this first thing in the description and in the outro. I am myself studying economics at university at the moment, and some things, like perceived value, are just a thing that gets taught there in marketing or service conceptions and so on. So some things even MJ did not invent totally anew, he just put the pieces of the puzzle together in a major new way, just of course, being an understatement. This is not an easy thing to do. But, my point is, you don't have to reinvent the wheel or find the singularity formula, as long as you have an original way of presenting something and as long as your own handwriting shines through. If you present content in a new light, shine a new perspective on it, then it will gather an audience, it will find viewers. This was just a big eye-opener for me right now. And it relates to what I myself experienced when making my courses on 3D modeling. There are loads of tutorials out there, but no one presents the topic quite like I do, and my audience rewarded me with following and watching on Skillshare, and for these first 5 months bringing me some nice extra money on the side. If you are interested, is my progress thread. I am nowhere near as far along as you are, but you've also chosen a good field which has a way bigger niche, money. So the moral of the story, find something people want to learn and make good, original content, no matter if the idea has been told before. Think about all the songs which became successes. The version from Marilyn Manson, Tainted Love, was a remake of a remake. If I remember correctly, ideas are often cheap, but good. Original ways of presenting them are not. I didn't bloody think I would find one of my favorite YouTubers on here. You're bloody amazing. Thanks for all the great content you put up. Incredible stuff. I'm sure you don't need any more validation to know you've got something real good here, but just in case you did, found another channel, almost a of yours in terms of everything aside from the fact that it's specific to the fitness niche. I won't post the link here, but I've PM'd you it in case you are curious. Love your latest video, James. You can tell how much work you have put into it. Great things ahead. I'd be more than interested in the editing course if you could go into the thinking process. Why this sound effect here? Why this sudden transition there? What effect you want to create, how and why it works. That would be most courses are about the technicals, but I can learn technicals anywhere and for free. Now deconstructing your own thinking process is something almost no one does. I'm not sure if you are familiar with competitive game analysis, but it is a good example of this. Another one is the Hot Sit series from Pickup Artists. Basically clips of guys going out and talking to people and deconstructing why, when, how they do what they do. Those were insane value at the time, and damn for sure there would be a lot of people who would benefit from that kind of material. Keep up the good work. Hey, I love your videos on YouTube and I watched it all at once. However, I am concerned on some comments on your videos impersonating you. Specifically this comment on the part 1 of the low. This is a spam account, attempting to scam anyone who would dial the number. Also, this isn't the first time happened. On your most popular video, there were a lot of spam accounts spamming that video. I have reported that account as spam. This article may help you in moderating the spammers. Edit. This video below demonstrates what will happen when interacting with the spammer. What the hell, he just checked his top video and the scam bullshit is everywhere in the comments. Amazing how success attracts the grifters, scammers, and low rent assholes. Yep, I've seen loads of similar threads on anything to do with making money on YouTube. It's often a clone of the video they are commenting on. I've been in FB groups where someone has asked if it's safe to send payments to get crypto, as it was influencer's crypto influencer gave me his email. Fortunately he asked in a group and we were able to warn him that it was a scam and not really the channel owner. Thing is, these dumbasses are everywhere. If the forum didn't moderate or screen posts, this is exactly how every thread in the forum would look. We literally delete dozens of these spam posts per day, and the rest don't make it past user approval. How do they keep finding ways to do it though? It looks like it's automatic, because it's repetitive, but maybe real people post the spam like it's their job. I'm just speechless. I've watched through your videos long before I ever found this topic. Keep doing you, my man. You've got my on your videos. They're addictive. Hey, this video popped up and within seconds I was like, another James Jenny video. I had to literally double check this wasn't you, Seems he ripped off your whole format and even the voice sounds super similar. He does give you some credit in the video details, but it's kinda crazy to copy someone so heavily. I'd imagine someone sent this to you already. I'm curious if this has been happening a lot. I see similar growth pattern like James's videos. You think James Jani created this format? Go watch Jake Dran. He was doing the same format before James. This style of video has been around for a long time, and as much as I love James' videos, he wasn't exactly the first one to do them. He clearly puts a lot of time and effort into his videos and provides value to his viewers, so I don't see why you are disapproving of this guy. What's wrong with copying someone if it works and other people enjoy it? They have the same voice. Maybe they are just from the same area of London. Wasn't expecting this thread to be by the guy who got me into MJ's books in the first place, and whose content I've already consumed all of. Fascinating read, and very impressive work. I still have to give you a lot of the credit for the relatively recent radical shift in my mentality, and for that I will remain grateful for the foreseeable long after watching your money vid and subsequently reading MJ's books. I actually spent about 6 months working on a 6+ hour long review of a video game I had just wasted my previous year on, in an attempt to salvage something of that waste. But since I kind of hated making it, video games are by and large bad for me, in addition to being a very saturated market, and my voice is basically a 2 to 3 compared to your 8 to 9, alas. This doesn't seem like a particularly viable path for me, though to my surprise I did receive some glowing comments, but that strikes me as more of a vocal minority or early adopter kind of thing. Anyway, good shit James, looking forward to your next one. Yup, this is the exact post or YouTuber I was referring to but didn't want to link. Although, his videos are quite good and fill a different niche. Holy guacamole. It's James Jani. I came across one of your first videos on my recommended a while back. Can't remember what it was exactly now. But your style was a touch of genius in the daily upload culture of YouTube. Keep it up. British content creators rise up. The sidemen of entrepreneurship will rise up soon to challenge the American entrepreneur niche. Kevin, Graham, hey, congrats on your success, mate. This is all very inspiring. 1 or 2 people touched on it in earlier replies, but I just want to point out what really stands out about your videos. Sure, your video editing skills are top-notch, you do heaps of research, more than most are willing to do, etc. But what really grabs me is your ability to tell a story. Armed with the same editing skills, the same research, the same stock footage, etc., I bet most people would fail to tell that story as well as you. The videos are gripping from the get-go. And they do not relent. You are a talented man, my friend. Your success is well deserved. Keep up the great work. Hey there, just spent the past few hours reading through the whole thread. Page 111. Super inspiring for sure. Makes me want to start a YouTube channel myself. Would love to see another quick update post whenever you get the chance. I see you've gained another 250,000 followers since the last one 5 months ago. Any new insights? Change in plans or strategy? Any online course revenue yet? Cheers from Philadelphia. Hi everyone, after reading through all 11 pages of this thread I want to say that I am amazed at what I have seen. Not only is James' growth on YouTube spectacular, and his mindset and attitude humble and inspiring, but it is wonderful to see the positivity of the forum members congratulating him and supporting him throughout his journey. MJ really has built something special here. I read 2 years ago, and the book and its lessons flew way over my head. I liked the financial maturity and the right attitude to apply these lessons anyway. I saw a quote from the book I had saved to read Wise, which sent me to this forum and this thread, and back to the books which I am rereading. James, you have shown me and everyone else that wants to become a fastlaner that it is possible through YouTube, something that I wasn't sure about. I might even start a thread of my own. It's very nice to meet you all. No or